Gather, veterans. It's time to join the fight. The long war begins.
This is The Long War. I'm Robbie B, and joining me once again are my partners in crime, Kenny Boucher, Mike Haspil, and Wyatt Turk. Just Wyatt Turk. He's not from Jack the Club's Fanning.
God.
Yo, dog, great to be
You
here.
couldn't just say it.
Greetings
and felicitations.
Hey, everybody. I'm Jack Club's Fanning.
Good job on keeping it professional. You embarrassed us, Rob.
I already mute myself and then was talking earlier, so like it's just
that's par for the course. I'm waiting for him to drop the call at least once.
It's all
like
downhill
butter
from here, guys.
Yeah, we nailed it. Perfect.
What
do it
else is
live.
it? Yeah,
Doing
here
it
we
live.
are. Back in the hobby trenches again. Back at it again.
It's a fact. So if you're catching this, we've done a few episodes, kind of our old format. This is the COVID-19 format. We've got a big jumbled meat and potato section where we do cover the new terrain stuff, some of the reinforcement speculations, new possible scaled wound speculations. We launched into a GW pricing discussion, a GW contrast paints, and artistic discussion. We go a lot of places, a lot of places on this journey tonight. I think it might be our best work. I'm not going to try to disappoint you, but I kind of think it's our best episode we've ever done.
It's not. Yeah. Maybe of 2020.
That's not hard. The way 2020 goes,
yeah.
Hey, it's not on fire. It's pretty good.
2020 is like that Willy Wonka tunnel ride.
Oh God!
I saw in a D&D group earlier today. There was I finally figured it out. 2020 is just 2 consecutive crits.
It is.
2020. Nice.
It's okay, we're not going to have World War III. 1. Ugh.
Sadness.
Hey,
Sadness.
man, at least
feel
we got
that tickle in your throat. I'm going to try to cough and get rid of the tickle in my throat. 1, you've caused a pandemic. Oh, awesome.
Oh my God. So we tabletop marketplace, possible Haspil's corner, but I think now you have to wait till the end of the meat and potatoes to hear his thoughts.
Yeah, I did it already.
Spoiler alert, he's now okay with Damien Lindelof.
That is not what I said. I said I will give him a chance. I'll give him a chance.
The goalpost has been reset in the relationship.
I started watching a new show we can talk about.
What's that?
Depends. What show is it?
It's Perry Mason.
Oh, man, I used to love watching Perry Mason back when it was on the air at night on my black and white set.
Do you know who's the lead on it though?
I'm not really good at remembering actors' names, but he's been in a lot of stuff. So HBO has a new show called Perry Mason, and it's Perry Mason the early years when he was in his 30s. And so it takes place 1930s LA, some OG crime noir with the OST saxophones everywhere. It's really the first episode was really good.
Oh, someone in chat mentioned that Foundation Apple TV. Yes. Haspil did make us all aware of it.
Yeah.
It's got the one guy. He's in Chernobyl. I like that guy.
I love him. But yeah, I got literal chills when he said they're going to come arrest me tomorrow and most likely you. I was like, oh, here we go. Psychohistory, all that
Harry
stuff.
Seldon in the house. That was.
Ooh.
Now I have to get
I got
Apple
chills.
TV. God damn it.
I have to. Okay, I'm going to have a confession here. And I feel free to mock me because I deserve to be mocked. I never finished Foundation.
I've never read Foundation.
Okay, well, there. Now we can mock Wyatt.
Yeah. I mean, I have read a lot of what do they call it? High science fiction. I've read the Endymion series and a bunch of stuff like that. I just haven't read Foundation.
Yeah, I mean, it's not if you're a caught up nerd, a caught up sci-fi nerd, it's you got the gist. You know what I mean? You understand
Yeah.
What's up? Like my dad made me read it. He was like, you have to fucking read this because he was a huge Asimov nerd. It was they're good. I mean, there's dry points.
Yeah.
When he came back and did Prelude, it was much better when Prelude dropped, and now you have that to kind of set up the story. Like it's much better now, and then it's dope. And the fact that it's finally coming to the screen and Apple TV, like I'm fucking now gonna be dead sure to Apple forever now because
we're also getting Dune this year, right? Or is it next year? I think it's supposed to release at the end fall.
Yeah, soon.
Fall. By
Looks good.
Aaron Aronofsky, right? Or Darren Aronofsky, is that his name?
Darren Aronofsky. Yeah, the guy who did he did the Blade Runner sequel, and
I'm just gonna call him D. Aaron.
D. Aaron.
dope. All right, well, fuck it. Let's do a joke. Give us a.
Oh, you're right. It's not Aronofsky. It's Denis Villeneuve.
Oh, okay, yeah. Oh, yeah. That I'm not good with names. Sorry. So I got a little bit of something different today. Like it's still like a question, like a would you rather, but it's a little bit of a different format. So if you could squat one faction from 40K to end COVID-19, what faction would it be?
Oh man.
And I'm counting Codex books, not sub-factions. So if somebody says Space Marines just to like shit on Ultramarine players, like sorry, whatever dumb Space Marines you play are dead too.
I really thought this one out. You really got to scoot.
Putting a lot of power in my hands, Genie.
Yeah. I mean, I'm going to choose Tyranids, and I can read you my TED Talk on why, but just so you know where I stand.
Can you give us the too long didn't read?
Too long didn't read. Tyranids are fucking stupid. There you go.
Okay, guys. Everybody watching that plays Tyranids just tuned out.
I mean, I've talked about it a lot. Like, if you love Tyranids, awesome. I'm happy for you because you have hobby passion. I personally think Tyranids are fucking stupid.
You know what? You sold me on your very limited argument and clipped TED Talk because I hate the models for the most part.
It's one.
They don't really fit into our sci-fi narrative.
That's two.
No, they totally do.
They rip off Heimlins. So they only fit into our sci-fi narrative because of Heimlin.
Yeah, they do a bad job of it. Like if Tyranids were actually giant space insectoids that looked mean, like if you ever like zoomed in on a picture of a fucking insect, it's terrifying. And then these things are like Godzilla bug dog mashup.
They have like dumb people face with big scary teeth. Yeah. It's like no, like they don't. There's nothing about them.
They have no personality, no character. Like, yeah,
I'm not saying like I'm saying of the line. Like, I like the fact that Tyranids exist and we have a bug threat and a menace. I love all that. It makes me feel good. But like, I hate their their range of troop models look dumb.
Yeah.
Many of their big models also look silly. Their newer models are obviously well composed, but I don't like models that have an utter lack of like sci-fi feeling in my sci-fi IP. So if I had to pick, I think I would also pick Tyranids to be squatted.
How do they? Okay, I need to hear why they don't have a sci-fi feeling when they're literally based on stuff from sci-fi.
Because at least the way I saw the ones in my head in the Heimline book, they literally were self-contained to a planet. It was a single military action to subdue the threat. And so, like, the entire narrative was like us going there.
I'm going to channel Trump now. Wrong.
Oh, right.
But even then, let me get like, and also, you know what? Let me caveat this with saying like Heimline sucks. Like his sci-fi books suck. Like,
oh my god.
Also, not
even make me. I will fly to California right now.
Like I'm
not going to defend him.
They're not tight. They're not that fucking tight. Like,
oh my god, dude! You just slaughtered everyone's memory who died on the Big K. Everybody.
Those people never existed.
Like,
it's fiction. It's not a historical document.
To me, Wyatt. They were real to me.
This is one of the only times I'm not shitting on someone's like Star Wars shit. I've read every Heimline book ever written, every Asimov book ever written, every Larry Niven novel ever. Like sci-fi was my jam. Of those three godfathers of science fiction, I rolled my eyes constantly and cringed constantly reading Heimline books. So like, I'm not even going to use him in this discussion. In 40K, the grimdark 41st millennium and the way they do their artwork. I do not personally like the way Tyranids look. And I think they're goofy looking, and there's too many fucking models on the table that piss me off.
That's what I'm saying. Like if you retcon NIDS to have like actual insectoid models that like look mean, because like insects are the most like efficient killing machines on the planet. Like if you've seen spiders and praying mantises and fucking ants, like they're terrifying. Just look at them up close. Like Google pictures of like what an ant looks like up close. And you're like, that is going to haunt my dreams. So if the Tyranid models looked like dope sci-fi insects, and I know Games Workshop can do it because look at Alariel's stag beetle. It's a dope fucking model. Why can't we have a whole line of space bugs like that? Also, I like character and personality in the factions. Like even if they're bad guys, like I like that. So if they were a sentient species that could like speak, and you had like characters and stuff, like even if it's only like the Hive Queen or something, right? That is like a named character, but Hive Tyrants were actually like a bad guy that had like thoughts and desires and ambitions and like anger and emotions that you could, read into and relate to or like abhor because they're the bad guy. Like I could get into that, like Kenny will back me up. Like if they were like horned spiders from Dungeon Lord, like that would be fucking dope.
True. And look, Haspil, I'm sorry. Stranger in a Strange Land was dope. Stranger in a Strange Land was dope. I will say that was that one always makes me happy to read.
Well, we're just going to pretend Gene Stealers did not come from aliens, right? That's where they came from.
If they looked like fucking aliens, genes, like fucking arachnid or whatever they're called. Xenomorphs. They look like those dudes.
Internecivus ractus is their
instead of like big goofy people with dumb teeth and stupid oversized hands. Like
they look like a cross between velociraptors and sci-fi bugs, man. They're amazing. Okay, but those are your choices. Yeah. Genie did that. You're not going to like my choice is not popular.
This is I can't wait for the comments. Like
this is gonna trigger.
I mean, this is gonna be like mayonnaise 2.0. I'm so excited.
Oh my god. So please do not tar and feather me. I'm gonna pick orcs. And my reasoning is that they are not a sci-fi race at all. They're a fantasy race. Mm-hmm. And they don't fit in the grimdark because all their stuff is funny.
Yeah.
And it's not supposed to be funny. So it's like they could reinvent the orcs to make them like Uruk-hai or something where they're terrifying, because when you read about orcs, like in say 15 hours, right? They're fighting greenskins, orcs in them.
Yeah,
right?
they're like Outreach.
Yeah, it's terrifying. It is absolutely terrifying, but that is not reflected in the modeling or in how they play on the table. With all that kind of goofiness, comic relief that is a holdover from like Rogue Trader in 3rd edition. So if I had to pick one to end COVID-19, I'm sorry, orcs. Goodbye.
Solid. Like the reasoning.
So we just lost even more.
I mean, I love orcs because they're wacky, but
I can't disagree with anything Mike just said. Like, you're right. So right. They're like, if they look, see that also when Wyatt was talking about the NIDS, I was thinking of Alariel. I was like, man, if they just look like that, I would be so much different about this. And then when Mike was like the Orcs-hai, like that savageness, like from AOS, like it just changed the look. Fuck God, something.
Yeah.
All right, Rob, hopes and dreams on you.
Yeah, so we've gotten rid of 2/3 of our viewers / listeners. Take care of the last.
Well, I don't think anybody plays these guys, but I would probably get rid of Harlequins. They don't make much sense. They're basically clowns. They have barely enough units to even fit in a book. And it's like, you could literally just fold them into something else. Like, I don't know. They just don't make any sense to me. Like, why do we have 24 codexes and Harlequins are one of them?
I mean, yeah, like I get it too, because they are like playwrights with very human concepts of everything that goes into them. So like they don't feel alien. You know what I mean? Like,
right.
That's I mean, like, I think the idea of them, like, in their lore with the Eldar, like, that aspect of them makes a lot of sense. But their visual representation of, like, yeah, we're jesters and like art, like, you know, actors on a stage. I'm like, this is all stuff from humans, you know?
Yeah.
I know it's really hard to write something that is wholly unhuman because we are human and that's how our brains work. Like, I get it, but it just doesn't really make much sense for the Eldar, which are very inhuman in many, many ways, even though they are humanoids. So like the clown aspect of Harlequins does not make a lot of sense.
I don't know. That was just my thought on it. Like,
see, I agree with you. If GW wasn't going to fuck up on that, they would have made them people. They're a troop of players, out of a clan even. I'm thinking like, you know, I'm just saying there's some really human dope shit out there.
Is there a battle cry hootie hoo?
Like, let me get, I don't know. Yes, chat. Look, we're not actually going to do it. But if Genie did come up to me and say, like, it's not, you know, I'll do this. Look, I still want us to have a game. I'm picking Tyranids.
Yeah, I have a confession. So that did happen. And we avoided some really bad stuff that because I'm on an NDA, I can't talk about. I'm on an NDA with the Genie. And I chose the old world. And that's what happened.
oh, funny story. You brought that up.
Yeah.
Nice.
So like,
I'm
gonna make my stance known. Like, if you play Tyranids and you love Tyranids, and your army is painted and you have a lot of pride in it, I have never and will never shit on somebody for liking Tyranids. Right? Fair play, more power to you. Like all the hobby love, but in my heart of hearts, I think Tyranids are fucking dumb and stupid, and I would not lose a wink of sleep if they got squatted.
Yeah, very compelling statement by Wyatt, and I back that. Your Maroos in chat. He's one of my students. We're working on painting his Tyranids right now. Uh-oh. Let me see what he's checking.
Yikes.
Yeah. I mean, if they just retconned them to actually be bugs and they looked like scary and aggressive and mean, like real insects, like if like there's like an old saying that like Mother Nature is like the greatest engineer because like a lot of animals are so much more like efficient in what they do, and they can do all sorts of really wild things that we haven't even figured out how to do. Like, what's that one? There's like a shrimp like that can, you know, explode one of its claws in a punching motion, and it creates like a sonic boom because it's so powerful. And for like just a little minute fraction of a second, that pocket of air that it creates is like hotter than the surface of the sun. Mantis shrimp. Yeah. Like, give me a mantis shrimp. Yeah, give me a mantis shrimp Tyranid. Like, that's what they're.
I love that the chat. I love that you brought that up, and the chat took exactly like 5 seconds to be like,
to say mantis shrimp. I'm like, what the fuck
like,
are you talking about?
Look at what praying mantises do. Like, look up, like, there's a video of like a praying mantis killing like a wasp and like eating its head while it's still alive, and there's nothing the wasp can do about it because the leverage of its pincers is so perfect in its design of evolution that like it's like perfect killing machine at what it does. I'm like, give me Tyranid models that are like that, like draw from real world animals.
Yeah, it's funny because both yours and Haspil's, I'm like, both those issues are fixed by not having shitty old models.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I also want them to have personality. The Necrons got personality. Like, I agree with you. Like, I would love to see Tyranids get personality. Yeah.
But, all right, cool. People hate us now.
I don't know. My pick was good.
Wyatt made the safe. I mean, Rob, you made your. Why you gotta always do everything better than us? Why you always gotta be like
Rob can't be saved. He's already hated by literally everyone. He's basically
not true.
Like, I'll give you an incredibly realistic and reasonable reason why you should get rid of Harlequins. You're gonna say a bad word.
Sorry, evolution has me so good at my job.
Goddamn lizard man.
My picks in my job.
And his Men in Black fucking skin suit that he wears that like opens up all crazy and he gets out of it at night and sleeps. I bet Rob is only like this tall, dude. Like it's only like 54 millimeter tall lizard in there.
Yeah. It's like piloting him like a robot.
Like a gecko.
Yeah. I got to shout out KR Quinn's legit Forrest Gump reference. Like 10 out of 10.
Was it?
He said, like, shrimp are tasty. There's like 400 ways to cook them.
No,
Oh, solid. I was like, what?
Solid.
All right, fuck it. Do the stuff now, Rob. You're a professional.
not really. Semi-professional at best. All right. So Tabletop Market Watch, we got some new releases going on pre-order from Games Workshop this weekend. For the Necrons, Illuminator Zeros, $50 US.
Ooh.
American.
Spicy.
Yeah, American. Yeah.
I mean, isn't he on like an 80 millimeter base? Like he's
a
really
bazillion
big.
millimeters.
Yeah, he's
I'm not
really
even
big.
going to complain because the old Illuminar Zeros model is busted. So I love the new one. So, yep, bring it on.
All right. Demonifuge Ephriel Stern box set with the Pariah is $50 US as well.
Oh.
2 models.
Dang, I only need one kidney. It's okay. It's all good.
That one's buy one, get one free, though, Mike. So,
Yeah, true. That is true. But I got to get that one too.
Lord Inquisitor Draxus is $35. It's like
They have my ticket this weekend, man. They're
got
hurting
me.
me.
You got
Preferred
me.
enemy
And
wallet.
to get the content, to get the rules, to play those miniatures, another $40 to get you the Pariah book.
Actually, that's not what I thought it was. So that's okay. I'm okay with that price.
You can get the collector's edition for $80.
I should
Or
probably do that.
you can go all the way and get the Ephriel Stern Heretic Saint limited edition, $150. Wax seal your own piece of birthday candle wax and all the accoutrement.
It's special dice, and there's like a cloth bookmark and a pin and a collector's coin.
See, you already know. You already got it on. You're ready to buy.
I'm going to get up early on Saturday and let the fates decide.
So good. Also, Demonifuge graphic novel is going on pre-order in hardback for $40. You can actually pre-order it right now on Amazon, believe it or not. It's been up for a while.
Oh, the color version, right?
Yeah, they never had a full color before. They only did like some pages in color back in 2016, I want to say. But this is the 20th anniversary edition. That's right. It's been 20 years. I can't believe it.
I know, right? That hurts. That actually kind of physically hurts when I'm like, ugh. It's been 20 years. Ouch.
And
what year was 20 years ago? 2000?
1918.
The year was 2000.
In the year.
Yep. I instantly thought of that SNL sketch. I instantly thought of that. That's oh my God.
90s Conan for the win.
oh man, he was so good. I have another poster on. Oh, here we go. Going on, actually already on Kickstarter is a really cool LED Kickstarter. We talked about it, I think last week, but it's actually up right now. It's called Omniscius. And it's pretty cool. It hasn't funded yet, but plenty of opportunity to get in on the ground floor. They have STL, so you can clear cast some of the parts. Like if you want your guns on your Redemptor Dreadnought to glow, you can clear cast the parts and then wire it in. And it's all like plug and play, LED charging and everything. It's a very ambitious Kickstarter. It looks cool. I hope it funds. But
if they get it to work, it's actually really awesome because one of the things that it has that's different is the recharging that it has.
Yeah, they have a little station.
If that works, if they're able to pull that off,
shit. If I can put my minis on a wireless charging station, get the fuck out of here. Whoa,
Pretty legit.
Yeah, that is cool.
You want your stuff to glow.
Okay,
Yeah.
I'm hype.
You want to be too legit to quit.
I mean, they've got pictures of it all on there. It looks like it works. I didn't get a prototype or anything from them, unfortunately, but a lot of people have tried LEDs through the years, and I hope they nail it because that's like the one thing I feel like this hobby. It's still kind of rudimentary. Like LEDs are kind of like the mystery ground right there. It's kind of like magic.
It does
magic.
kick your stuff to the next level.
See what you did there.
I know.
we talked about some Forge World units being discontinued, or as customer service referred to it, retired, air quotes. Not a whole lot of ideas quite yet, but it seems the indicator seems to be anything that's currently in stock on the American site, but might be out of stock on other sites. Some of the Death Corps, Mars Alpha, Lehman Russes, maybe some of the Vanquishers, or the Macariuses rather, some of the Chaos Rhino hatch upgrade things. I think that was some of the big stuff right now that we've been able to figure out. So a little disappointing, but a lot of stuff's going to get squatted. Wasn't my choice. I said Harlequins, but Forge World's always adding stuff every day. Well, they probably will be, give them enough time, I suppose. And 2 big anniversaries. We may have forgotten the 5-year anniversary of the Long War this year, but we're not going to forget these. That was in February. We forgot it.
There was important things happening in February.
Yeah. The Rona.
Yeah. Like my birthday.
Yeah. February 24th. That's it.
And
continue.
Yeah, that's it. Okay. So about this time last year, or 5 years ago, anybody want to guess what happened?
About this time.
I can't remember what happened
5
like
years
3
ago.
weeks ago.
Isn't there like some post-apocalyptic movie that took place in 2015?
What? No, for the hobby.
Oh, I don't fucking care.
5 years ago, hobby? Get the fuck out of here. Nobody gives a shit about this hobby.
You're right. It's just everybody listening and watching right now live.
Yeah, I don't know. I literally don't know.
Summer.
What, 3rd edition came out?
So
on. Let's be good at smart. 5 years ago, roughly this time of year, you're saying?
Yes. So about this same exact week.
So summer, right, ramping up in the summer, halfway through the year.
Age of Sigmar?
Yep.
There we go. Good job. We did it.
It's been 5 years since GW set the hobby on fire, somewhat literally by some hobbyists.
That's true.
Yes. What a crazy time.
What a crazy time. And look where we are now. Like, it took them a little bit to get it together, but it's mostly back on track. And now we got giants to look forward to. Realm Lords are this week.
2 words, Ossiarch Bone Reapers.
The Bone Reapers are tight.
Can't say Bone Reaper without saying Boner.
That's true. Boner Reapers.
Just read it a couple times. You'll only ever see the word boner.
That's dangerous given your current. Anyways, we'll stop. Another 1 year anniversary. We talked about it. Well, we're going to talk about it because this is the past and the future is the future. 1 year ago, about 2 weeks ago, Contrast Paint came out. And
that was only
changed.
A year ago?
Yeah, it's changed the way we hobby. Everybody uses contrast every day. It's not bad.
I will not say shit because I go off on a fucking rant. And I had no idea this was even here.
No, I did not know that when I brought that up either. So that was
then. This is now.
Stand by everything I say later in this episode.
Pure serendipity.
Yep. Sure is. And a few days ago, the Angels of Death original soundtrack came out from Jonathan Hartman. The composer. It reached number 2 on iTunes soundtrack chart. So it beat out a lot of stuff for a couple of days. I think it slid down to number 4. I checked it this morning. I wanted to see if it hit number 1. I might have just missed it.
I've listened to it for inspiration on something else I'm working on. And I think it's okay having not seen the show. So I'm hoping that once I see the show, it will kick the music up to the next level. Because then I'll know what's like actually going on. It is, and I like the Space Marine game soundtrack better than it. This seemed like it had a lot of electronica in it, but again, having not seen,
now you're speaking my language.
Yeah, having not seen the actual show yet, there are definitely tracks on it that I loved. So we'll just have to see when it comes out. But I was expecting more choral numbers, like I'm trying to remember the Ultramarines, that kind of movie that we shot.
Oh yeah.
but it had this track on there called like Steel and Doom or something, and that track was fire. It was amazing. With this like choir talking about the Astartes and all the They Shall Know No Fear and all that stuff. It was so good. So we'll see.
Yeah, it's gonna be hype. I mean, shout out to Jonathan. Shout out to Jonathan Harvey.
Chaos Gate soundtrack.
Oh Lord.
That dude, I think I mentioned him earlier. Like that dude is like a legitimate fan. Like I met him here at fucking Next Gen Games and Comics. One of the first guys I met through Arthur, the legendary CPA.
Oh, you mean the actual composer, the guy who
Jonathan Hartman.
Yeah,
nice.
Oh.
I've gone to his birthday party like twice. It's the first Hollywood party I ever went to because he's a 40K fucking nerd. He loves Inquisimundo. Like he's so hype on that shit. He makes the sickest. One of my display boards I had for a long time was just one of his tiles that he gave me from his like crazy, like over the top. He runs little campaigns. He's like a massive fan, like who's also a composer. Like so literally,
so that's great.
It was
got to work on it.
Yeah,
I think in a picture of the Angels of Death on the Warhammer Community, they show him sitting in front of his switchboard.
Yep.
I don't know what
he was at LVL walking around in a suit, like saying hi to people.
But if you look close, he's just standing there like cheeses in his office, the music composition lab, the Beats
his
lab.
actual Beats lab is much different.
His actual Beats lab. And if you look in front of him, I believe is the old school Necromunda hardcover rulebook.
Oh,
it's hard to tell exactly what it is, but I think that's what it is.
Yeah, that's like literally a part of his life. Like fucking create. I mean, it's to me, it's perfect that you see like GW coming into the scene. And they could have picked any composer, any working composer who's good at their job with his background. He has an incredible background and pedigree. But they were like, no. We need a guy with that set of skills who also is hype on 40K. And it turns out there's a lot of them. Like, because a lot of when I went to his birthday party, one of the first things I ever did out here because Arthur showed up. He's like, yo, there's gonna be some people here who write stuff and you're like that you're a fan of. Just keep your fucking, don't be a little fanboy over here. And then when I walked away from that party, learning was that this is the nerd side of the movies. Like all these other people, they're like out there doing golf, doing this, doing that. All these dudes were just like fucking D&D on Wednesday. All these dudes were like fucking every single one of them was like had some background in tabletop nerd shit. I was like, this is the happiest revelation I've ever had right here up to that date. Like that they're all like inundated into fucking nerd shit.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's cool to see the tabletop wargaming everywhere. A couple other I randomly thought about it while we were talking, like that Ultramarine movie, 10 years old this year. 2010.
Wow.
And I still know Haspil's favorite line, or his only line he likes. Burn heretic.
Burn heretic. I adored that.
That was like your ringtone at one point.
It was. I love that.
This is John Hurt. You can't give.
It was John Hurt yelling "Burn heretic." I was just like, done. Worth the whole movie.
Like Haspil's like, you have to see it. Trust me. I'm watching it, and he's like, I'm like, why are we watching this shit? And you're like, no, keep watching. And then I'm watching. That scene comes, that scene goes.
Hour and a half.
If you have robot ears like myself, 10 years ago, Skrillex's masterpiece, we'll call it, the scary sprites and whatever. Literally 10 years old.
Wow, now.
Epic.
As long as we're talking about old stuff, I do have something I want to talk about because they did an unbelievable job. So back in the 90s, about the mid 90s, there was this real-time strategy game that kind of changed the surface of the whole gaming scene. It was called Command and Conquer. Nod against GDI. This is pre-Red Alert, all that stuff. Right? Well, they remastered the whole Command and Conquer. And the way they do it, I picked it up on Steam. The way they do it is absolutely awesome.
It's really cool.
It's really, really cool. So if you like Command and Conquer, if you liked it originally, it's really, if you've never played it before, it's going to be a step backwards. You'll kind of see the evolution of RTSs and how they came, because a lot of the stuff You have to micromanage, and it's a little bit different, but it is well worth it. And I want to say it's like $20. It's not even that expensive.
Did you have to play that like over a modem? Well, how did that work?
Yeah,
like you got a dial up or something.
Yeah, dial up. We had a LAN in our house because I was like rooming with 3 other lieutenants. So we had a LAN in our house, and we would just play Command and Conquer a lot in between alerts. That was the day. That was the heat. We played that and Jane's Longbow, which was a flight simulator for the Apache. We would just play that all the time, man, and it was amazing.
I wish they had done, because they did Red Alert 1 in that package. And I wish they had done Red Alert 2, because that was like my jam. And I don't know why they didn't do Red Alert 2. That made me sad.
Nuclear launch detected.
Yeah. Like you can get the Red Alert 2 OST on Spotify, and it's like HD remastered.
Oh man.
It sounds so good.
Yeah,
Tesla's powering up.
Yeah, they redid all the music from the original Command and Conquer, remastered everything. They lost the original sound files for the woman that did all the
Tanyas.
I don't know the Tanyas. I don't know what that is.
She was like the demo expert. She's like, yeah. Okay.
No. They lost the sound files for like the Harvester Full, all the status
the announcer.
Stuff. The announcer, and she went back and re-recorded everything.
Oh wow!
Like perfectly.
Perfectly. It's so good.
You guys,
it was like a hit of nostalgia. It was perfect.
You guys ever play that old one, the 92 or 93, the Dune 2 Building of a Dynasty, Westwood Studio?
Yeah.
Like never played Dune 1, never even heard of it. And I know like Westwood Studios is like abandonware, but like Dune 2, Building of a Dynasty, that like was my first RTS of all time.
Mm-hmm.
And every time I played RTS,
I wish they would do a remaster of Red Alert 2 like that. Like I liked Red Alert 2 more than StarCraft back in the day.
Wow.
Like, Red Alert 2 was like my jam.
What did I wanted to talk about those bikes too.
Outriders?
No, the ones from last week we talked about.
Oh, the ones for monkey resin.
Yeah. Did you get your package, Kenny?
The package.
I heard there's some stuff coming to you. Some reinforcements.
Like the package?
No, that you haven't got.
Oh, you talking about my new hands and head?
Yes.
Possibly. I
Your handies.
I haven't been down here all day, so I don't know.
Okay, there's some handies coming, but there might be a bike in there, I heard.
Ooh.
Oh, shit.
Brand new.
I finally opened that one package you sent me like a year ago with the Raven Guard person in it.
That was like probably a year ago.
Is that a real Forge World model, or is that like...
No.
I didn't think so. I was like, this looks so dope. This can't be Forge World. And then I was like, is it? Do I have to change everything I've ever said about Forge World?
No, that was a Heresy Lab mini.
I'm
not sure if they sell that. That was a Kickstarter like kind of promotion thing.
Well, it's laid out, ready to be assembled back there. Like I was like, this looks sick. Okay,
Legit.
looks dope.
But yeah, I think those bikes are up for sale right now on Pop site. I have to go look. I think they're through Shapeways, but they are. I think they are up for sale. If you guys, because I know everybody was asking about them.
The new hotness.
He showed me the test prints, and they came out really good.
Yeah, I saw the test prints too. Some pictures. They look good.
In that package, is there enough to like make him an actual bike rider? Because you realize I don't have any supplies, right?
Well, they're designed so you can put whatever head, shoulder pads, and backpack you want.
The part of the statement I just said where I don't have any supplies is a literal statement, not a figurative statement.
Well, yeah.
You better literally get some bits.
I literally haven't bought a box of Space Marines in fucking 10 years.
Well, you'll probably get some of them. Oh, we should cover the Indomitus box too. I did the values on it. Well,
yes. Yeah.
Let's talk about that real quick before we move on to meat some potatoes and ranting about contrast. Future alert.
How do you know what we're going to talk about?
I'm Fucking Lizard King.
He said it. He admitted it. Someone clipped that. Someone on Twitch clipped that. Let me get that soundbite on the Lizard King. Fucking silly.
So it's kind of hard to figure out the values for the Necrons because we don't have a super lot to base them on. Because some of the models are so old. But I put the Scorpek Lord at $60 because he looks like he's on a 60 mil or maybe an 80 mil, like Gilliman size. He also looks to be multi-part, so chances are we'll see him as an additional release in the future. These Scorpek Destroyers, those 3-legged duders from the video, they look pretty fresh. Pretty much anything that's a 3-pack these days seems to be $50. Like, pick one. They seem to be about $50, or they could go the route with the Sisters Penitent engines. Who knows? Where I think you get 2 for $60. So, or they could go to Beast of Nurgle and just make them $35 each. Didn't expect that either. But sometimes they just get crazy with the cheese whiz. The Overlord, probably 35. That seems to be the new standard for characters, right? The Royal Warden is that dude with a really cool gatter for the Necrons that I guess just follows them around. He looks pretty neat. Figured $35 on him. He's Primaris Lieutenant-ish, maybe. The Plasmancer and Crypto Thralls, I don't remember if they were a separate sprue or not, but I put them at $50. That might be a little high. It's kind of hard to dial these in right at first. The Walker also looks to be on a 60 mil base, although that could be a 60 mil base, and the Scorpek Lord could be an 80 mil base. It's kind of hard to tell from the pictures right now, but I put him at $40. Chances are we will see these broken down into like a start collecting box, like the halvesies and halvesies, minus the characters taken out. So they may never be sold separately, but that's just kind of the value you could probably put on the secondary market, especially if it's something that you need to give out those aura bubbles where you're going to need multiple of them. And then last but not least, there's 20 warriors in here. They're on 32 mils. Seems to be a popular thing these days to make the troops $60 each. We've seen it with Primaris. We've seen it with Sisters. We saw it with Chaos. It's probably going to happen in Necrons. So, yikes. But there it is. So that adds up to about $390 in estimated costs just for the Necron side alone. Again, wow. Some of this is probably going to be sold separately as multi-part, like independent character, like separate releases down the road. And then you might see a start collecting box for the rest of it. So it might not actually be that kind of value. But this is what you might see it selling for secondary market style. On the Marine side, that's a little bit easier to tie down because we've had 3 years worth of Primaris pricing to kind of pull from. So the Primaris Blade Guard Ancient, probably $35. Remember that the regular Ancient's still going for a lot on eBay right now, just because this is the only way to get a standard bearer in Primaris. It's crazy from Dark Imperium. The Judiciar, I don't know how to say him. I don't feel bad because Jess Godwin doesn't know how to say his name either. So I feel like I'm allowed. If the people that invent this stuff can't really say the names.
It's like how the difference between how we say Jaguar and they say Jaguar.
Or aluminium.
Yeah. So they've said like Judiciar.
Judiciar.
Yeah. And I don't know. I thought it was a Justicar until somebody was like, no, it's the Judiciar. And I'm like, well, that's dumb. The model is like my favorite one.
Fresh.
It's the one I want. I lust after that guy with his executioner sword.
He looks pretty fresh, carrying the little "your time is up" jar.
Yep, coming for your Astartes.
Yeah. So probably $35 on him. Probably. The Eradicators, I imagine they're going to be similar to Aggressors or Inceptors. Pick your choice of 3-man Primaris squad for $50. Chaplains we've already seen for $35. I don't think that's going to be any different. Maybe that's what's his face, Cassius. Oh yeah, Annie agrees. Maybe not. It's really hard to say at this point, but it definitely looks like Cassius from the Ultramarines. Primaris Lieutenant, $35. Primaris Captain, he's pretty fresh. Wyatt's already talked about how much he likes that dude. with the little flip up night helmet. And he's got a couple different helmet variants and the storm shield and such, probably $35. The Assault and Scepter Marines, there's 10 of them, probably $60. We've seen that in the past. And the Outrider Biker is another 3-man squad. I'd probably put it $50. That's $385. Again, some of this might come out as a start collecting, like we saw with Shadow Spear, with some of the other smaller breakdowns.
Even Dark Imperium, boxes. Like you had the and they should have no fear box version of it. Like
when they start breaking it down and just
a lot of it has to do with how these sprues are made.
Right.
Like the Dark Imperium one was very limiting in how they intersperse based on space savings some of the characters into the sprues, which is why like you still can only get certain models from that. So like we have to see what they look like, and then Rob will put up a post and it'll be 95% accurate. I always Google your value posts on Spiky Bits.
They're pretty close.
Oh, yeah.
It's hard to dial that in. It's all best guesses at this point.
They're usually really close though. I Google them often.
Cool. I did expect them to put it on pre-order already, but it looks like they're going to wait at least an extra week or two. Clue.
They better figure it out because there's already like direct copies of most of the units online.
Oh yeah, the 3D makers have been very busy bees out there.
The pirates on the salty seas are sailing full sail.
I mean, that only lasts for a certain amount of time, but like you said, I think doing inspired by models that are very similar, but maybe given a little bit more value in the fact that you could use them as counts as, or it's offering something that perhaps the GW kits didn't. I think that's where the you'll be able to monetize your efforts going forward.
It's like,
whereas
this whole 3D printing, third party market shit, this whole discussion that everyone always has, right or wrong. It's like, look, man, really simple, like code of ethics to hold yourself to know if it's morally bankrupt or on the correct side of that line. Are you printing these models simply to save money? Or are you printing these models to make something dope? You try to make your shit look sicker? Or you try to just save $60? Typically, if you can answer that question to yourself honestly, and the answer is to save $60, probably on the wrong side of the discussion of how it's going to move forward in the future. If you're on the side of like, I just want my shit to look dope, no one's ever going to call you on that shit. Like, it's always going to be dope. It's going to be painted dope. It's going to be modeled with love.
Yep, I agree.
Just ask that question to yourself before you do anything.
We're getting back to the Indomitus box. If you add up both of those, it could be almost $800 in value when you factor in the rule book. That's going to be a special edition.
That's incredible.
It only comes in there.
It's a
very ambitious box.
Really.
What's the retail for that thing again?
We're thinking it's 200 because that's what that mystery box giveaway is.
Holy shit!
120 pounds, 200 US through Arbitrage. Wow. So, but here's the thing: they might be pretty limited, like the Sisters box, and those pretty much sold out the very first weekend. So there will be probably other breakdowns because remember they came out with No Fear, which was like half the box, and then they came out with First Strike, which was half the box. Over the couple of months. So there could be versions coming out, but I think overall it's probably going to be worth buying if you're currently in the 40K. If you're not and you're just starting out, probably not going to be marketed towards those folks. But it seems like there's pretty good value there. This go around for sure. I think they're going to sell a lot of them. I think they're going to sell all of them.
Yeah, literally all of them really quick.
Yeah.
Rob, I'm going to try to get some. Try. If I don't, I might need to call upon you if you get some.
All right.
I need a couple of those models. I don't need them all.
You just do what I'm doing because like I'm just going to give money to Rob to like make sure that I get some when he orders some.
I'm going to put them down my pants.
But they're like Rob doesn't get Rob is not like some guy who gets to skip the line though. Like it's going to be a.
I have to fight my way to the front.
Yeah. GW doesn't give Rob a skip line pass like some of these other people.
Oh no, I just buy my stuff off the shelf wherever I can find it for the most part.
Zenwu in the chat has a interesting question. He says, do you suggest pre-ordering from Games Workshop or from your friendly local game store? I recommend ordering from your friendly local game store unless it is one of these special edition, super limited things.
It's not super limited.
Right. No, I don't mean like the Indomitus box. I mean more like the Demonifuge Reliquary. That kind of thing I would order off of GW.
Yeah.
Right, where the books that they had for the Black Library that were like super limited, they're going to sell out in like an hour. Order those from GW. But all this stuff like the Indomitus box, your friendly local game store should probably just start a sign up sheet so they know how many copies they can try to get and order from.
Which does help to make a more like desirable order that thus guarantees the priority of them getting what they requested from GW.
Yeah.
And you don't have to pay shipping. Boom.
And plus, like, after everything that's happened, if you want your FLGS to still be there,
yeah,
you need to support them. You need to give them money.
Especially
like,
now with
unless it's literally like a clubhouse, you pay club dues to be there. Like, it's a store, not a clubhouse. If you don't give them money through retail, they will close. It is a business.
Pop Goes the Monkeys in chat. He says, did Kenny say he needs Primaris Marines? If Primaris Marines are what I need to make those bikes work, the answer is yeah.
I feel like if anybody knows what you need to make those bikes work, it's probably Pop Goes the Monkeys.
You need shoulder pads, heads, and backpacks. So and weapon bits.
I'm going to need a lot of things. Most of what I have right now
I did post a link in the chat. In case anybody missed it, I did find it. There it is. If you want to check out them grab bags.
The new hotness bike.
Do you have them up in monkey resin yet? Or is it?
Nah, it says coming soon.
Buster Shapeways.
Shapeways for now. Monkey resin soon. Which one do I have?
You have monkey resin, I believe.
Oh, yeah.
Nice. I wonder if he sent me some.
Hell yeah. That's going to be.
I'm sure he could if you asked him to. You might have some extra laying around.
My supply drawer, though, Rob, is like currently filled to the brim with Spellcrow, totally not Death Guard models.
They look good. I've been watching your tutorials.
My new video is I was gonna announce it for tomorrow, like the new 101 curriculum, because I put up a post saying like try to stay more committed to the quality of the content, not the schedule. But in order to complete the video, I need the bases, and I've elected to go with battle ready bases for this project because it's my first project in 9th edition. Lots of advances are going to occur here, and I need to know that the base is always going to match. So, Gamers Grass, they're not cheap. Like, no lie. Like, I'm not saying like they're the correct solution for all armies, but I feel like if you're making an army kind of in the blind and expansions are going to occur, you probably want to get on something like Gamers Grass or these HD bases. Normally I use Elric's bases, but like, I want them to look dope together forever. So those bases I just got the tracking number. They're not here. And I feel like the value of this huge, like 30, 40 minute video I'm doing on the full creation 101 system of a 10-man Death Guard squad would be incomplete and of less value without the final steps getting around their base. So like, that's unfortunate. So I'll try to put something out tomorrow, but it's not going to be that video. But it is going to have a shitload of follow-up videos, and I have used these Spellcrow, totally not Death Guard Plague Knights conversion bits to assemble a 10-man squad of Plague Marines, which just for the sake of that statement of making a valuable video, and in creating those models, laying them out and just looking at them, I was like, I'm fucking baiting it. I'm doing an army. Like, it excited the passion in me. Step back to the army painting world and slowly assemble this force over the next X amount of time dedicated to content creation until like maybe LVO. So like I am stoked. Got all the little vehicle accessories from them. I've got like fucking their little obliterator conversions, totally not obliterator conversions. Like it's gonna be hype, especially when I sprinkle in some monkey resin and whatnot. I'm fucking so passionate about this. It's ridiculous right now to get this shit done. Credit to Wyatt. He has claimed ownership over this passion because he did shame me multiple times over the last year by holding conversions hostage to me.
Yeah. You need to paint your own army.
Cumulative weight of that shame has now put
I'm
me
just
in
saying,
position.
like, you talk about representing your brand all the time, and like people are like legit bummed out when they see you at events and realize like you didn't paint your army and it's like a hodgepodge of stuff. And I'm like, people look forward to coming up and seeing like your legit ass painting stuff in the real. And because you don't, they're like, oh,
I agree with
now they will.
Kenny, you want to buy some of your old armies back?
No.
You sure?
Yep.
Okay.
I'm very comfortable with where we're at with that.
Yeah.
I'll buy your Blood Angels army back just so I can burn it.
Just so you can make a video of you smashing it.
I hate that army so much.
That army,
not the Blood Angels, Kenny's specific Blood Angels army that beat me like a million times in a row.
That army actually sold on eBay, that specific one where you actually made me the Storm Raven that I used to do that to you with, because there wasn't a Storm Raven model yet, because GW used to make rules without models.
Oh, yeah.
And
they stopped that.
They stopped that when they realized that they didn't have a strong claim to physical models being produced. Haspil made me this incredible Storm Raven with like a flip Valkyrie with new wings. It was so sick. And
I remember those, yeah.
Oh, yeah. And I had this awesome DOA style army, like with all the Set Angel shenanigans. It was so strong in 5th. We've talked about it a million times. But what happened to that army, Haspil, is that I used to use eBay to promote and market my company because I found it to be one of the most effective ways to get exposure. You throw something up for like an unattainable price tag. Like I'd say like, you put it up for bid, I'd be like opening bid 2 G's, like, you know, like something that's like ridiculous. So it just would stay there for the auction. And then using the terms of service of eBay, where I could use my links to my actual gallery to help the purchaser make an informed purchasing decision. I would use all that, quote it, and just get like 4,000 views on a post. And people would just click on my gallery link. It really helped in the beginning days. Well, guess what happened? That shit went up. We were at ATCs. I'm playing the Grey Knights, that triple Dread Knight Grey Knight army that I think Rob fucking bought from me. And I get a notification on my phone, on my BlackBerry or some shit. And it's like,
BlackBerry.
Oh, your auction just sold. It's like, I put that up literally 4 hours ago. God damn it.
Wow.
But then I saw that like I got 2 G's and I was like, well, that's tight. But I was really not thinking that army wasn't going to be mine after this tournament. So that army is with somebody like in Japan right now. Like,
nice. Well, but it's good. It's good.
So I didn't get any marketing out of it, but I got money. So
I don't think you can. I don't think you can do that anymore because it like costs you money to list that.
Yeah,
stuff.
I think all of that shit I just said is no longer actually as effective of a tool.
Mm-hmm.
Marketing. Mm-hmm. Didn't I win Adepticon team tourney with Blood Angels armies? And me and Rob, we were on that team together, and we did. Yeah. Parts of my paint jobs were in that army. Right?
Yeah, you had the rhinos with the suppressor tops.
I supplied like half of the jump troops and rhinos and foot troops that we needed. That's what it was. Me and Rob have been on the same Adepticon team many times. Last second, putting models together and splitting our collections apart. Oh, the good old days. Remember Adepticon?
Yeah. I was feeling a little sad because this was like the first year I was going to get a room at the Renaissance. So I wouldn't have to like Uber back and forth like a hobo. And then they were like, it's not happening. I was like, God damn it. So mad.
Yeah. Sad note to go out on.
Those are the days.
What else, guys?
No, I just play with myself.
Yeah.
Bold of you to admit that.
That's all I got for tabletop market.
I saw a TikTok video yesterday that was like spin the bottle. It was like spin the bottle for hand jobs. I was like, oh, this is gonna be awesome. And it's just like him filming like the bottle. He spins it and it spins, and you're like, oh, I see where this is going. And it doesn't point at him. It points just off into the room. You're like, oh, okay. And then he lifts it up and it's a mirror. It's like, and it's just, I was just like, yep. That's my life. Is LVO still on from the chat? Apparently, yes. Tickets go on sale in like 4 days.
Yeah.
So currently, yes. But do we? Our Haspil's Corner is embedded in the podcast, right? And we do have a little bit of time. We're still ahead of schedule. So if anybody else wants to add, or did you already talk about your show embedded in the podcast?
Yeah, Perry Mason.
Okay,
the new HBO show.
Oh, okay. So everything we talked about is embedded in an order that I can no longer discern in the meat and potatoes of this pre-recorded part of the COVID-19 podcast.
Anarchy.
Been working on my hobby muscles, my outdoor hobby muscles. Getting huge.
Making sure your house doesn't fall into a sinkhole and back into the lizard realm.
I call it I've been dubbed the Lord of the Tubes. Just digging and burying PVC corrugated pipe, try to divert all this water.
Bonet was telling me something the other day. She was watching online about how like they're saying that there's like oceans under the oceans in the mats and like below that shit and like inside the earth that they're detecting now. And I was like, all right, I'm not gonna dismiss any of this because I want this to be real because that is Rob's home. That's
where
realm of the reptilians.
That's where he's from.
Oh, I got a picture to share with you guys. Oh, I think I did. I might have where Andre was like looking. There's like a little porch next to the patio that's screened in, and the lizards live, like geckos live under there, and they'll come up like afternoon because they know the sun's gonna beat on it, and they'll just like lay out, and the cats are like just like staring at them, like so disappointed they can't get them, and they're all like fat lizards. They look like little Butterfinger bars.
You go out and hang out with your people?
No, no. They know who's in charge.
So I filmed this. We'll put it on TikTok, but got this bird feeder I installed like on one of my windows. Of course, it's attracted all the fucking squirrels.
Oh,
and
you got to get baffles.
So the squirrel's like chilling on it, like, and it's like suspended. It's definitely precarious AF. You know what I mean? And he's on it, like, and it's just spinning around because I've got a hook, and it's like the second floor. And he's in there trying to like get in there, and it's just spinning and spinning, and he's going nuts, like fucking with it. And Bonet's like goes up to like tell the squirrel to get lost, and I'm like pull out my phone and I'm filming this shit. And she's like, "Hey, young man, you got to leave. You got to go." And he's like fucking flips his shit, right? Because this window opens, and it starts spinning even faster. And at one point, like it spun around, and his balls and his dick are like right there. And she's like, "Oh, I've never seen a squirrel's dick." And then he jumps off into the tree, and I have that all on film.
So he had the last laugh.
Yeah. And so I have that, but I got it all. So that's going on TikTok. Everyone needs to know about this.
Achievement unlocked.
Yep.
Yeah, that's a pretty
Seeing
good one.
squirrel dick. There you go.
I didn't even know that. I just thought they produced asexually, or maybe eggs. Everything produces with eggs, right?
Right. Yeah.
Yes, Rob. Everything produces.
That's what I thought. I was just making sure. Asking for a friend.
Since it's been like COVID-19, we're just doing like dumb things around the house to like find interest in things we normally wouldn't. Like a bunch of little planters on the ledge that we just threw random seeds in, and we're like, now we have like a ledge garden that we're like, I would say unreasonably hype about. That under any other circumstance would be like, why are we wasting our time fucking with it, you know?
This is an inconvenience.
And now it's like something.
Now you're getting into other boomer activities.
Yep, and so I've got on that side. I put a hummingbird feeder.
Yep, that's another checkbox. Yeah, that's
a
boomer manual.
Wow. Yep, and I won't lie. The hype I felt was totally unrealistic for when I saw hummingbird land on it. I was like, "Yeah, what's up, Doug? This is dope." You know, I was like, "What do I even care about this?" And so, but I did because I went online and got our hummingbird feeder, and I'm like, I live in California, so I'm Googling like hummingbird feeder dyes are bad for hummingbirds. I want to make sure my hummingbirds got the right shit. So I was like, oh, clear nectar's better. Got it. So I put clear nectar in a red glass thing, right? But it is, I'm not gonna lie, it's like a battle royale out there. I was like, there's like a shitload, like, and then I read about like hummingbird behaviors, and it's like the dudes will kind of fight each other, and then a lady would be like, all right, let's bone down. But I'm like, we have a bit of a sausage fest out here, buddy. There is like an unprecedented amount of dude hummingbirds flying around, and like I haven't seen a lady hummingbird for like 2 weeks. Like they're like, this is too much, and they moved on, and the guys haven't realized it yet. And it's a battle. I was like,
it's like real life.
What is going on? Yeah, right. I was like, what is going on?
All the girl hummingbirds probably set up OnlyFans pages and just hang out inside.
So I went back to Amazon to get the nectar I bought. Didn't even read the reviews, and like. The first like several reviews are like, you want a hummingbird battle royale, buy this hummingbird feeder. And I was like,
oh,
checks
that's
out.
the one you got?
Yeah, I'm feeding them crack, dude.
Oh, checks out. Yeah, that'll do it.
Like the ladies moved on. So that's my day now. Like I wake up, fuck around, look at some hummingbirds battle each other out, watch a squirrel dick, look at my little seeds popping into plants. Got 2 little weed ones that we threw some seeds in. They grew up like this tall, and then they instantly died. And I'm like, well, that makes sense. I don't know shit about farming, so like,
you have to Facebook message all your friends to come and tend your garden when you're not there.
Oh, they're just gonna die when I'm not here. Like half of them are already dead. Like they got to like this tall, and I was like, yeah, I did it. You guys are good. I'll just give you some water every day, and I'm like, oh, half are dead. Like, oh, there's more to this than just water. I got it now.
Yeah, Bloomberg School of Farming doesn't work. Turns out there's more to it. Yep. Who would have thought?
Who would have thought this is a legitimate trade with actual knowledge base? I thought anyone could do it.
Yep. I mean, they have whole like almanacs and all sorts of other things.
Go out in the morning, everything's just dead. Just like, yep, Grandpa Kenny here.
Yeah.
I'm a boomer now. So like, Wyatt's got his World War II tank games.
Yep, bolt action. We're going to start changing the format of the show. It's going to be all about DBA now, De Bellis Antiquitatis, and a bunch of historical games and Napoleonics.
Yeah, we talk about Tanks of the Modern Age, Flames of War.
Next week, Waterloo.
Yeah.
You guys check out that new program on the History Channel last night. Don't worry, I TiVoed it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, which one about Hitler?
Yeah. Yeah.
The one where he was also a lizard person. That one was super interesting.
Super good. Or the Bell UFO one? That's a good one too. How the Nazis had the Bell UFO. That's a good one.
Good old History Channel.
So you guys are old.
Not as old as you.
Nobody knows that.
Lots of people checking in chat. Looks like the YouTube thing's not broken this time. That makes me so fucking happy. Victor Von Champ says, what armies would you lean toward in 9th? Literally too early to call. Bro.
All of them.
They're probably all going to be
fine. Way too early. I mean,
I would say use a combination of 9th edition passion, COVID-19 sadness, and use those as like kindling for each other, and just pick the thing that you think is the hypest. Make it the fucking hypest. Don't give a shit about nothing. Things that you wouldn't have considered dope, just trust that they may be dope, and just
I'm going to commit. I have
a
recommendation right now. I am giving a recommendation right now.
Necrons.
I have it on the DL that Necrons might be kind of tight, 9th, maybe.
They might be going.
Oh, there was a lot of Necron salty tears the other day.
Why?
Because they're not getting a codex at launch, and they didn't get anything in Pariah.
That's good.
Yeah,
that's good. That's secretly good. That's like
you don't want to be the first codex in the edition, because then you will be the shittiest.
Get their codex until like July, a month later. So, and then 2 years later, 3 years later.
Oh yeah, but
2 years later,
there's a lot of whiny posts that I was drawing joy from.
That's good.
You were in the wrong spot.
Yeah,
it was the main Necron page.
Changes.
Say that again, Mike.
Having gone through like 1 billion edition changes, you do not want to be early release codex. That's terrible. Perfect example was Grey Knights in 8th. Grey Knights came out like immediately, and they were terrible for the entire edition.
Great. You say you used a flip, so go back to 5th. In 5th, Grey Knights and Necrons were just destructive, right? They came out kind of toward the later 3rd. Yeah. Then you go into 6th. So we just got our Dark Angels Codex. Remember, like that was a big deal at the end of 5th. And we were coming home with our new Dark Angel Codex from Adepticon, and then 6 drops. Right? Chaos was one of the first codexes in 6 as well. Or maybe I got my Dark Angels. Maybe that was 4th to 5th. But it always happens. Like Dark Angels sucked all of 5th because they were the first. Chaos, like hard Chaos Marine decks, sucked for most of 6 because it was the first codex. Like this is literally 1,000 empirical pieces of evidence to support that.
So that's interesting though, because if they're not going to get a new dex and there's nothing in Pariah, allegedly, then when you get the Indomitus box, all the new rules for that stuff is going to have to be in there.
Well, just data slates and your current codex. Like it's just
there's a little rules pamphlet.
It's just like how 8th has been the entire time. That's why this also what we're saying might not be this. It might not be that bad going into 9th because they have really shown a better commitment to updating data slates and problems rules as we go. So I would say that even if Necrons drops immediately, it won't be as bad as like previous editions, but it probably still will be affected.
I'm actually surprised that they wouldn't get anything in Pariah, but I guess if that's what people are saying.
Well, no, they don't have, they have Xeris and Sisters get Ephriel Stern. That's their rules. And the Inquisitors have, I don't know what's going on with Inquisitors because some of the rules, they were like, hey, these rules are new. And I'm like, no, that's just the same rule with a different name from the White Dwarf. What's going on? You guys okay? Are you being held against your will?
Right.
I don't know what's going on with those rules, but so
I know it's going to cost me about $200 because when they dropped all that at the same time, I was like, I need to get all these minis and that book.
And you got to get the Sisters Butt Plug edition.
I do. We had a little funny about that because I saw it and I was like, they're calling it the reliquary or whatever that comes with the demonic special edition. And I was like, oh my God, I have to get that. And then Rob's just like, it's $150. And I answered something like American. And I was like, that's insane. And then the chip went off and I was like, what? It's a steal. I'll buy 2 and keep one in the shrink wrap.
You get it?
Oh my God. The hype is real though. You know, like LVO talking about 29th to get in on that. Slider Fest pushed back to November. So there's a lot of things unfolding in the tournament world and the convention world. I definitely recommend, like Wyatt mentioned earlier on Tactics show, like get those tickets. Worst case scenario, you refund later. So something changes, but like I am looking really forward to be able to go to a convention again. But I would say we all know that like nothing's guaranteed. Just use the fiery passion of new rules, going back to basics. You know, just this fact that like meta doesn't exist more than ever now because now we're in an edition change. No one really wants to play 8th when they're waiting for 9th. We really haven't been going to events, so like nothing matters. Just play for the love. And if GW does their job right, a lot of what made the cut in your list might just be dope. Like I predict transports go down in price. Like stock base level style transports go down in price. Right? I think that infantry is really going to be the bulk of the up pricing, and some shooty tanks. But I think like the way you move stuff around the table, like Rhino chassis, Razorback chassis equivalents, I think that will stay the same, maybe get cheaper because it doubles down on the smaller, faster feeling of the game. If those things don't suck with some of these new rules, and their points can convince you away from like, well, I can do another unit of like 20 guys, or I can do this or do that, or I can get like another one of these and for rapid deployment. That makes the game twice as fast when like you're not pushing 10 guys around and measuring carefully, but you're just pushing a Rhino. That is a theoretical, like, you know, abstract construct that there's people in it. There's really nothing. It's just move.
Well, I mean, if they update the assault ramp rule or anything with the impulsors to make sense, I think they'll sell a lot more of those kits. Drop pods, even, you know, like
the transport shell game needs a bit of an update. Also, I need to research it a little bit because it's been a long time. But I think if they've already given us this, like, vehicles, they've given us some augmentation to vehicle, right? They've given us augmentation to Overwatch. They've, I think the next plan is making transports reasonably priced and to incentivize us. And I see, and new stuff came out, right? New stuff came out, which is dope, which is, Haspil, read that. If you have it pulled up, read that word salad rule for me.
That was terrible. That was, there's
a couple of choice
controversial. I'm not bagging on the rule, right? I'm bagging on the way it's written.
Yeah, which is like counter to GW's kind of guarantee they gave us earlier about terrain specifically, that it would feel like a third player and it wouldn't be super cumbersome. And even though you can understand what they're saying, why is it written this way?
Now I'm gonna attempt to read this in one go.
It's hard,
and I had to read it 3 times to try to figure out what they were actually trying to say. And I think this is exactly the way you don't want to write a rule.
Uh-oh.
Dense cover. If this terrain feature is at least 3 inches in height, then subtract 1 from the hit roll when resolving an attack with a ranged weapon, unless you can draw straight lines 1 millimeter in thickness to every part of at least one model's base or hull and the target unit from a single point on the attacking model's base or hull without any of those lines passing over or through any part of any terrain feature with this trait. First period.
Oh.
I'm already lost. I'm already like, what did you just say? Second sentence. Models that are on or within an area terrain feature with this trait do not suffer this penalty if the only terrain feature these lines pass over or through is the terrain feature that the attacking model is on or within. Second sentence. Third sentence. Models within 3 inches of an obstacle terrain feature with this trait do not suffer this penalty if the only terrain feature these lines pass over or through is the terrain feature that the attacking model is within 3 inches of. Last sentence. The height of a terrain feature is measured from the highest point on that terrain feature. There are 2 additional sentences in this than there need to be. This could be a 2-sentence rule.
This would have been great for bullet points.
Yeah, we need bullet
having
points.
you read it is actually way easier to understand it because you read it in a way that is like when I was reading it myself, I had
that's how I had to parse it. Yeah, I had to parse it into that way.
Yeah. Like I struggle with it. Like at the end of the day, you can unpack it, right? It doesn't need to be written that way. We're the fucking bullet points. I think the core of the issue is GW's defining line of sight through lines and a thickness level, like 1 millimeter, basically because they're not acknowledging footprints of terrain features. Like in 4th edition, we were intimate with the fact that if a terrain feature had a footprint, if you were trying to look at a model you're trying to shoot at, and any part of the footprint of that terrain feature obscured the base of the model you're firing at, that this rule takes effect, right? So they're not acknowledging a footprint, which I think is a mistake. But at the end of the day, it's pretty ironclad. I can't dismiss the fact that the rule is ironclad, but it's worded poorly. But I would say the biggest takeaway, the thing that got me my dick super hard, was they said to the model's base or hull.
Mm-hmm.
That is not how we've been playing the game lately. We have been playing the game as if you can see any part of the model.
Oh yeah, this is clearly you measure base to base, you measure hull to hull or base to hull now.
That is, despite all the word salad garbage in there that I hate, and that you could have fixed it with less words. I'm like, wait a minute, hold on. So are they finally? Because that was 4th edition. Remember, we used to play test games, Mike. We're just like bases, like of the correct size. We write shit on them.
Yep.
Like, because the base is the thing that breaks the narrative. That's the physical representation of how much area this model displaces. That's the only thing that matters. Everything else is RP. Right? Mm-hmm. That is all that matters, because my dude can't occupy less space than that base. I have to see the fucking base. So like, the base is this fucking tall, chilling there. If I can't fucking see that thing, I can't do anything with it. It doesn't matter if the guy's like heroically doing this or whatever. That's meaningless. The base. That is fucking kind of important. And I'm grateful for that rule, though it was written super poorly to indicate.
it seems to me, and I'm sure because I'm talking smack about it, I'm going to mess it up. But it seems to me they could have just said something like, you get a -1 to hit if you're standing in area terrain, unless the person shooting at you can draw an unimpeded line of sight to a model within
a model space.
Terrain. Yeah, but that's the same thing. That's what they said.
Yeah.
And then they included, what's interesting, they included the other terrain in there. And I think that just the obstacle terrain in there. See, obstacle terrain is a different terrain feature. So it seems like it should have its own rule. So it's like, and if you're within area terrain shooting out, you don't suffer the penalty. They should have made it simple. They wrote this for rules lawyers. And I think it's
dumb because we still they still want to have like true line of sight, but they realize that we don't like true line of sight because it makes terrain basically meaningless on the table.
Right.
All they had to do is be like, if your base is wholly within this area terrain feature, you get -1 to be hit. And then like, that's like, if you shoot out of it, you don't have to like,
it would have. Yeah, that's the way it should have been. It should have just been that way.
But they want true line of sight still, which is why they have that extra huge word solid in there of like, well, unless you can, fully hit the entire model, because they know that they sell forests with like 3 fucking trees, and it is entirely possible that you're going to be able to do that with models on their terrain features, because they want to do that. They don't have to have that because all their stuff is abstract rules anyways, except true line of sight, which for some reason they don't want to go away from. But
and folks in the chat are saying you can get the benefit if you're standing behind the terrain. That's, as far as I know, that's always been a thing. If you were behind the terrain.
Yeah. They're just reminding you. They're reminding you in the rule. Like, the thing is, I can't dismiss the fact that the rule is pretty ironclad. It's just, God, so wordy.
Well, I think where this is coming from, and I kind of blame GW for doing this, but I also kind of don't blame GW for doing this, because and we've talked about this before, right? There are tactics and there are exploits. And what GW is trying to cut down with the wordiness of these rules is they're trying to remove exploits. Yeah. They're not trying to mess with your tactics. They're trying to mess with people who are trying to find loopholes in the rules to exploit.
Well, that's their fault too, is because they're really bad over the years of accurately displaying the intent of a rule rather than the rule as written, which is why we have this eternal debate. Like, are we going to play to intent, or are we going to play to the wording of the rules? And like, certain things can be wildly different based on how you want to play them. And if they just made their rule system when they wrote it out, if they made their intent known,
well, I'm hoping
have that issue.
I'm hoping that there are some diagrams that go along with this, or pictures or whatever, that illustrate what they're talking about.
I think they said there would be.
Yeah.
Like they said they were like, the only reason that the rules, like the core rules section of the game, would be longer than an 8th edition is because they put in a whole lot more of like examples and clarifications and diagrams. That's the only, like they were saying, like that's the only reason why it's longer.
But that's great. That's good.
So that rule provides -1. -1 to hit. So that's kind of a big deal, that now we have dense terrain and obscure terrain. And so the battlefield is littered with all sorts of ways to manipulate to stay safe, essentially, to increase your odds of survival, right? Because with the obscure terrain, it's like when you're in it, like all bets off, right? You can be seen now and shit like that. So like, you're definitely balancing like being behind something to not be seen because of a footprint, being inside something, knowing that there still might be a -1 to hit you. There's a lot of stuff here terrain wise that is so vastly fucking amazing and positive for the type of game that we're moving toward, with a lot more maneuvering and a lot less emphasis on just trying to kill everything in someone's army in the first turn. Not saying that's every game in 40K, but like, this is an emphasis on playing the fucking game, which seems good to me.
I think it'll be fine.
To the chat. So the other big thing was the Gazgo wound mechanic was discussed, right? in being applied to things with 18 or more wounds? Things that don't benefit from obscure terrain?
Right.
Yeah, that's coming from, like word on the street, playtesters, that kind of thing. So that units that cannot take advantage of the obscurement rule are supposedly going to get some help from only being able to take X number of wounds per phase of the turn.
Which is pretty interesting because Gazgul is a 9th edition. Now, if we're to believe that Psychic Awakening is 9th edition, and Gazgul came out with this brand new rule mechanic, and I personally believe he's overpointed for the current edition by about 80 points even. He has that mechanic, right? And why it's basically 4, so you can kill the 3 phases.
Yeah, and so earlier we were kind of extrapolating based on that math. So if Gaz has 12 wounds and he can only take 4 per phase, technically you can kill him in one round or one turn if everything goes your way. Like if you can put 4 wounds in the shooting phase, 4 wounds in the psychic, 4 wounds in the combat, really hard to do in an alpha strike scenario. So it does allow him to stay on the table and not just get ganked as soon as he shows up, right? So if we follow that math up to something with like 18 wounds, like Mortarion, then it would scale a little bit, right? So 6 wounds for him. So again, you could kill him you could do 6 in the shooting, 6 in the psychic, 6 in the combat phase. Really hard to alpha strike that kind of thing. I can't really think of an army that could do that off the top of my head.
It's hard to do, like, unless you're an idiot, like, because
unless he's like,
if you're terrible at the game,
deploy him in the front of your army. Yeah. So yeah, like, and then again with 24 wounds, if you do 8 per phase, that scales again. So it's the same thing. Like you could kill it in one turn, but you'd have to do shooting, psychic, and combat all in one phase. And one thing we talked about is just like from a player enjoyment of the game standpoint,
fourth wall rules. Like,
yeah, it makes a lot of sense because like, models with those wounds are usually expensive because they're big and people want to be able to, have some fun with their big boy toys every once in a while. I mean, like, yeah, running like 3 knights, little spammy. Not everybody likes that. But if you're just like, I just want to put Mortarion on the table,
and actually touch something with him once. Yeah,
actually do something with him. Like if the Ultramarines get to have fun with their Primarch, why shouldn't I get to have fun with my Primarch? Like if I have one Knight Titan, why shouldn't I be able to have some fun with my Knight Titan? If these other people can have fun with their Knight Titan, like I want to have at least like one turn where it does some pew pews or some stompy stomps. That's fun. That's why we play this game. So bringing those models up to par with the rest of this edition, with everything else going into it, where everybody could kill them before can still kill them now. If you could kill 2 Knight Titans with your army pretty easily, you can still do it. It's just not going to be in one turn or 2 turns. It's going to take a little bit longer.
I love it because also you have to remember, Scared is one of the new strongest things in the game right now as a terrain type, where it basically says that a Knight Titan can stand right up against a building, and your 3 Obliterators can be here. They can see each other, but like in reality, just the Obliterators can see the Knight. And so, and he's gonna have to now maneuver beyond the footprint of this building to interact with those Obliterators with his guns, right? So like they're giving us this great new style of terrain that we have to navigate, interact with, and maneuver. So they're also going to give these big things, 18 or more wounds that don't benefit, a reason to still be played, right? And I think that's really interesting because I think spamming a lot of that stuff is not going to be as good as it used to be because specifically obscurement is going to make it more difficult. But like if you bring one and it's like an anchor of your army, you can fucking still use it. That's dope. That's a fucking sick rule. I mean, it's word on the street rule. It's not real yet, the wound capping. But if that's the case, I expect to see like a minimum of 80 point increase across the board to all 18 wounds and above models.
Yeah, it makes sense. Like historically, Games Workshop like as like a narrative mentality for how they create this game. They love the idea of people having like one big toy on the table, right? Like they like the idea of a guard player having one Baneblade. They like the idea of you bringing a Night Titan, or, you know, like you get to have your Magnus, you get to have your Mortarion. They just don't like it when you have like all of that. Like they don't like the Magnus, Mortarion, and a Keeper of Secrets and a Night Titan. They don't like people having 3 knights if you're not running only Night Titan Codex. You know, they don't like the 4 Baneblade chassis lists. So if you can bring one of those things and you can play with it for a couple of turns and have it be meaningful, I think that's fine.
And the thing is, at the end of the day, it's like it's this pipe dream to think you're going to kill it in one turn with the 3 phases. What it really is about is saying that like you're going to have to shoot it 3 times.
Yeah,
that's really what they're saying.
Or like shoot it, and then, you know, chop it twice, or, you know, so like shoot it twice and then chop it. Not everybody has the psychic phase, and then not everybody has.
And even the psychic powers that are really good at this are not always as easy to deploy as you think they are.
Yeah, yeah. So it's just like something that would take you 1 turn now takes you 2 turns. Like, ooh.
Rob's muted, by the way.
I had to go fix my toilet, and I forgot I was muted. I would never do that.
No.
Yeah.
Never. Not once.
Kind of like what Kenny said, I'm not as worried about big stuff as some people are in light of this possibly being a thing. Because you have to remember that with obscurement, most of that stuff is like a one-way street for bullets. Like people can interact with that knight, whereas that knight cannot interact with you.
Yeah.
So it's going to be
like Magic Box. It's like Magic Box, like indirect fire on steroids in some situations.
Yeah. So it's just like, it's going to have to take a bunch of damage just to be able to interact with you, which kind of evens all of that shit out.
But you can do all sorts of like crazy shit too. Like, can't you bring on a knight like 1 inch away if they're near your board edge? Technically now, if you leave it in
with
strategic
reserves.
Yeah.
So again, they showed off like 3/4 of that rule, or even like a quarter of that rule, because that's going to be a big deal.
Yeah.
I would not be surprised if there are certain keywords or certain data cards that say specifically like this cannot be put in strategic reserves. Like it would not surprise me in the least if they were like, yeah, Mortarion can't strategic reserve him. Like, sorry, we don't want that. We've already seen what happens when we're like, ooh, we can do this thing that was never intended for Mortarion, and then immediately slap it down.
But what is the new one? It's different though, right?
What strategic? It's like it's outflank.
It's
basically you pay CP based on the power level of the unit to outflank it. But I would not be surprised if certain things are not allowed to do that based on what they are.
It said no matter what, from what I've read so far, that if your shit's in strategic reserve, you can just bring it on the board, your board edge, and if it's 1 inch away from something, there's no restriction to.
Right, we're saying it's like we don't know if every keyword is going to have access to that core. But the thing is, I think as a core stratagem, I think everyone will, which is also why Wyatt, it's the neutered version. It's not demonic incursion, which was the big OP shit when the demon codex came out. Demon keyword, demonic incursion.
It's not scary.
It's not that thing going scary. Anywhere on the table. That's a different story than it has to be locked.
Yeah, so it's I'm like reading through it right again. It's like it's not no matter what, because they already stated that like if a unit already has the ability to be in reserves, you can't use strategic reserves on them. So like Terminators, jump packs, things that can go in the webway for free, etc. Like if they have that as part of their rule, you can't do this for them. And so like I'm saying, you could probably use it for a lot of things, but I would not be surprised if like when all of this comes out in its full form, that they were like, if it contains X keyword, you cannot put it in strategic reserves. I'm not saying that's what it will be. I'm just saying I would not be surprised if they did that.
I think they're just trying to they've already said movement's going to be more dynamic. And I think if you overextend, you're going to get pounded because they want to equalize the playing experience for both veteran and also less strategic kind of players, because those, as they've learned, the hobbyist type player are the people that spend more money on this game. And if there's anything GW knows, It's how to get money out of people.
I think they're going to give it to everyone. We said
it's not the same rule, George. Like,
this is
Terminators can. Yeah, Terminator's deep strike. This is not deep striking. This is outflanking because you have to come in from a board edge, and there are different restrictions.
Your board edge, for the freebie where you're auto engaged in assault or whatever.
Right. And regardless, you can't come in until turn 2, and then like there's restrictions on turn 2, so you can't ever come in on your opponent's board edge, and in turn 2, you can't come in inside of their deployment zone, regardless of what table edge it is.
So they're actually giving you a nugget. The fact that you can like defend your own board edge.
Yeah.
Like Terminators can't deep strike and do that. So like there is a boon here, but they're saying Terminators can't use it. They can't use this type of reinforcement. So I think it's going to be available to every unit type. I do, because it's a core rule. And we said since day one that everyone needs a fucking reinforcement core. Like we came from 3 editions in a row where we were allowed to put anything in our fucking armies we wanted in reserves, remember?
Mm-hmm.
And that was a big deal. That was an incredible tactical advantage to be able to like put some things in reserves. And then we're in this edition where like not everyone has that ability and some people do. It's bullshit. And we've said since day one, there needs to be a core rule. This is that core rule. And I do like that it's more complex and nuanced than just a arbitrary deep strike. It has conditions and advantages. But like in the grand scheme of things, it's not as flexible as being able to go anywhere 9 inches away. In the grand scheme of flexibility.
But have they said, I think the answer is no, that you can just, is there a restriction to how much shit you can leave in reserve?
Well, currently
in open play, no. In match play, they do have the rule where
currently,
so,
yes, but I'm talking for
they have not talked about that.
They have not addressed it specifically yet.
Yeah, I don't think it's going to go away.
I imagine. I was going to say, like, I imagine that, like, they have learned lessons from the past 3 years, and we're not going to have to wait, X number of months for a big FAQ for them to be like, oh, yeah, that thing that we knew was a good idea, we took that away, and now we're putting back that good. Like, I'm pretty sure we're going to start off with a lot of the things that we already are used to.
If this shit isn't like crystal clear, I'm going to be pretty disappointed. I'm be honest with you. And I don't have any reason to believe that's not the case because we expected a big FAQ in April and we never got it for 8th, obviously, because of the Ronas and all the other stuff. So this should be very dialed in my opinion.
2 things that aren't going to change. They're not going to change strategic reinforcements, whatever that FAQ they created was on units to point level for reserves. And they're also not going to go back on the whole, like, I show up, can get warp times, can do all these crazy things.
Oh, no, none of that shit.
GW has made their stance very clear on how they feel about that. They don't like it. They're not going to go back in time on it. Now we have a new maneuvering-based sense of tactical flexibility and a core stratagem that we should have had since day one. So that's a big fucking deal. Mm-hmm. Like, and so Mortarion, for example, since we used him like 4 times, like, specifically, Mortarion was one of the reasons why Demonic Incursion and the whole Demon Codex stratagems were the first and only codex to my knowledge, where they said those 2 lines of keywords, the one that's faction and the one that's abilities or whatever, they said in the Ray rulebook, those are the same. Don't even look at the delineation. They said except for demons. You want to use fucking our stratagems in the Demon Codex, even if you have the correct keywords, you cannot unless the faction line has. So, because people saw how strong it was to do that to Mortarion. So this is like kind of going back to that, but a little bit more throttled. He has to go to a board edge. It's easier to defend because you only know it's just these 2 runs. You know? So
yeah, and you could be totally right. Like that's just my gut feeling is that like they're going to pick some things where like, yeah, we don't want you to be outflanking Baneblades. We don't want you outflanking.
Some things are bigger than 6 inches.
It's entirely possible they could be like Titanic keyword can't strategic reserve. Primarch keyword cannot strategic reserve. So we'll have to wait and see. Like based on what we've seen already is where they're like, yeah, we don't like stuff like that being able to do that. I think it's going to stay that way, but I could be wrong. As somebody who has a Mortarion model in the case behind me and is actively adding Death Guard to my already large Chaos collection, like I'll take that. I'll take that win. If that's a win for Death Guard players, like, yeah, I'll take it. But I don't think they're going to.
They're going to give us a lot anyway. So,
I mean, everything is subjective right now. They're gonna show us some shit out of context. It's gonna get people talking like it's doing now, and it's great. It's great to forward the whole anticipation and everything like that. But I just want to see the damn rules. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah. I mean, honestly,
my hands.
I really enjoy talking about this stuff with you guys, but I'm like, if they didn't plan to have this release until like the third week of July, they shouldn't have started talking about this shit until like now, because we've literally been talking about it for a month, and we have like a whole nother month to wait.
Well, so they're going to be doing a whole bunch of like training, store manager training. They got to get the box sets painted up by them. They're going to do role playing, and now we got the Ronas flaring up again. It's
it's going
to be challenging.
Like all of this was supposed to go down in April, May, because it was supposed to be the month after Adepticon, and then the Rona and like the shipping shutdowns and all this. And like, I definitely understand, because like the logistics of doing a worldwide same day release for their products is like insane. I couldn't even begin to work that out. Like, I'm definitely not educated on any of that, but personally, like the feels I'm feeling is like, I kind of wish they hadn't started talking about this until like this week, the end of June, if it wasn't going to release until, July like 11th or the 18th. Just because,
I mean, I get what you're saying, but
it's just too long.
It could be just a bunch of crap articles and talking about nothing like they were doing for 2 months. So, I mean, at least we have this.
Yeah. I mean, I enjoy talking about it. Like I go through like hills and valleys of like, last night I was like, I literally don't give a fuck about any of this. I just want the rules.
In chat, a few people are indicating that they use Knights and Baneblades in their temple for strategic reasons.
Did they?
I don't remember.
So I just need points. That's what I'm cracking out on, because I like my constant need to get a high score in Army in Battlescribe is like. It's funny.
Is Battlescribe even going to be a thing anymore?
It's funny. I was about to call it
information. Is that information from like a live stream?
It might have.
That's what people are saying.
You can go back and watch them. They're unlocked,
boring, dude. I watched one of them live, and I was like, I can't believe I woke up early for this horse shit.
Yeah, someone just timestamp it for me. I'm gonna watch.
Yeah.
Oh wow. So did you see where they're retiring some Forge World units?
No.
Which ones?
Tell me about it.
Exactly. No yet. But apparently the key is stuff that's in stock in America, but temporarily out of stock in other countries, because they got to float it over.
Use your forensics and figure out which ones those are.
I mean,
a lot of the Chaos Rhinos and Hatches upgrades, and the Lehman Russ Alpha pattern upgrades.
Why it's like, don't say decimators. Don't say decimators.
Some of the
I mean, like stuff. I was thinking along the lines of they've already done this with a lot of the heresy stuff that just never sells or hasn't sold in a really long time. So yeah, I mean, like it makes sense, because when was the last time you bought Forge World doors from Forge World instead of just getting some like third party ones that look cooler and are way cheaper, or now like 3D printing them or any of that kind of stuff? Like there's so many options. Like, why would I pay like $50 for 2 doors and a front plate? You know what I mean? So it doesn't surprise me.
I completely agree. But it's interesting to see that they're rotating out the stock a little bit more. That'd be sad, but they said a bunch of shit was going to have legends too when 9th dropped. So
makes sense. I think there's going to be a lot of stuff that hits legends. Like there is a ton of.
That'd be just my luck. I'd be like, I finally got them all. But all of Grey Knights is legends. Oh my god!
I was just going to say there's a lot of data sheets still in play that they don't produce models for anymore, and so like they gave us almost 2 years to get used to the idea of legends. Like, just be prepared.
That's what they do. They just throw it out there first.
I think there's a lot of stuff that's going to go legends soon.
I think the Inquisition Rhino or Land Raider upgrades too is going away, Haspil, because it wasn't in the it's not in the Pariah book.
No. Well, I think one of the things I'm looking forward to for Inquisition is just so that I can field them actually in the armies without having to violate some of those special rules. that you get. You know, the whole, you get these rules if your whole army is blank. And then you're like, but I want to use Inquisition. And it's like, well, now you've just jacked up all your special rules for like 2 guys and an assassin. You know what I mean?
Maybe when maybe they'll do that when Pariah comes out.
Yeah, that's what I'm hoping. That's honestly the one rule I want to see in Pariah, is that they don't break stuff anymore, so I can run Inquisitors with my Grey Knights.
It makes a lot of sense too. Like, you know, if you have this like strike force of ultra homies, like why would they automatically just like go brain dead and be like, I have forgotten the codex because there's an Inquisitor 5 feet away from me?
No, see, that was all that was.
It's like, use it like the codex. Shh, there's an Inquisitor, right? We don't do that.
They need to overhaul this whole like unlocking your Legion abilities because of this keyword. They need to remove that clause. And I think a big reason that clause was there because I think it was a combination of like spamming certain types of units for game balance, but also their RP. I think they need, this is one of those moments where if they're adjusting the points anyway, giving us a better sense of balance. They need to let that shit just work itself out. They need to remove that stupid line of text for the beginning of all those little sections and all the codexes that throttle your access to your special abilities because you took a fucking Plague Bearer unit, cast Space Marine Codex, even though it's in my troop choice category. It doesn't have Heretic Astartes. So now I'm not fucking, you know, so all that. Everyone has one of those. Everyone. Move it. Balancing the points. It's fun. Fuck out of here. Or maybe say like, certain, I mean, it does seem like they're targeting. We mentioned this earlier. We're like, I don't want this to all be broad brushstrokes. Like points, rules of threes. I want this to be targeted. And people are saying from behind the scenes that it's looking very targeted. And I think that like the example they gave us of the Intercessor and the Cultist is very indicative of targeting. Like, let's take a look at things. Make a rule for that instead of like this really fancy rule that we intended for that we're going to apply to everyone. Fuck that. I think they're doing it the right way this time. This is a full new edition. This is like akin to 5th to 6th, 4th to 5th, 3rd to 4th. This is like one of those changes. The core plays the same, but we just in the terrain changes alone. It's gonna play so differently.
Yeah, I'm pumped for it. I'm looking forward to it, man. I didn't play a whole lot in 8th, just because of circumstances, not because of like really rules. But I'm looking forward to like 9th. You know, it kind of resets everybody on. So I'm not like, hey, because my time's starting to open back up. So I'm like, oh, I want to get back into this, right? But with 9th, everybody is kind of reset again, you know. Because we're all trying to figure out everything and the secret codes, and
I'm excited.
So
Return to the King.
I'm looking forward to it. Yeah, it'll be good. It'll be fun.
Jack James Jr. summoning. Yeah, I mean it was lame.
Oh,
it was lame that I had to summon Plague Bears in, buy them, put them on the side, and then do some dumb set of sequences to get in my army to not break my Legion trait. That's what I'm saying. That's dumb.
I do have a funny little anecdote for you guys, especially Wyatt and Kenny that didn't like contrast paints. So if you guys will remember, I was kind of a fan. I'm still kind of a fan.
I remember the epic battle that
however,
the earth.
So I have a friend of mine, longtime 40K player, who hasn't played since 5th, I think. And he's just getting back into it. He's a big Blood Bowl guy, right? So
I know who this is.
Hanging out with me. Yeah. He's hanging out with me. And I was showing him, he didn't even know what Primaris Marines were. So I was showing him.
No way.
Yeah. So I was like, oh, here's what they're doing. They're rescaling everything because he's looking to get back in with 9. And so I go, hey, I need to find some Primaris Marines. And the only ones I have are my Blood Ravens that I painted with contrast. So I go and I dig out my Blood Ravens and pull them out for the first time in like 6 months. And I go, is this guy finished? Like, I look at it and I'm like, well, this is a Primaris Marine, but like my entire Grey Knight army is laid out on the table. Now my Grey Knights
painted with your other speed painting techniques.
Yes, but they're painted old school. They're all metal. They're painted with a brush, old school, right? So my entire Grey Knight army is laying on the table, and I grab a Grey Knight, like a generic dude, just to show him the scale of the Primaris. And I go, like, is this guy done? Like, or did I just base coat him? I was like, man, that looks really bad.
It looks like shit.
So
after like not being GW chipped for like a few months, going back and looking at it, you're like, what was I thinking?
Well, now though, I have to finish the entire Blood Ravens army with contracts.
That's how they get you. That's how GW gets you.
But then I'm gonna have to go back and quote unquote finish them with sponge chipping and all my other techniques, so that
if you guys aren't sponge chipping your models, do it, because legit. I do it to avoid having to edge highlight stuff, and it still looks dope. And it's like, man, that is such speed painting black magic.
It is. It is awesome.
I just want to know where all these people that are using contrast instead of like the hottest shit are these days. Like paint whole models, like Golden Demon, like quality.
Well,
where they at?
I hated that argument. It was so stupid.
You know what I've been using contrast for, honestly?
It's good stuff.
I like it for this, right? Is like Warhammer Quest for
War game minis, yeah.
Assassinorum force that comes with a bunch of chaos cultists that I don't really care for, like D&D miniatures stuff. I'm using contrast for all that stuff because it's so fast. And it's like, well, I have 40 cultists that I have to paint for Assassinorum Execution Force. I don't play chaos. I don't care what these guys look like. I just don't want them to just be primer, right? Contrast is the way to go.
Yeah.
It's super fast. Same thing with D&D, like Bones minis and stuff like that. Just slap some contrast on them. But it was just really funny that when I pulled out these Blood Ravens that I hadn't looked at in a long time, I was just like, man, this does not look good.
Yeah, I mean,
Can't do it.
It's good for organic stuff.
That is literally it. That's what you're saying right there.
And glow effects like swords and shit.
No, it's literally not. Like any paint, I do it all the time professionally. Any fucking paint is superior to that paint for making any effect. Period.
You can't just call yourself a professional painter with no nothing to back it up.
Literally a professional painting instructor in the field of miniatures. Like,
do you have a certificate?
Yeah,
I'm actually working on getting a certificate. Like right now.
Oh,
I'm trying to my new one.
Are you licensed?
Currently not.
Yeah. Are you licensed?
Currently not.
What's your COVID policy?
Are you with the guild?
I'm going to be with the guild soon.
Guild?
I'm actually looking at how to get my 101 curriculum credited.
Oh, very nice. For real. Yeah, that's awesome, dude.
I'm working on it.
That's really
put a lot of effort into it, and my 102 curriculum and all the things required to become accredited.
But for real, you need to be a member of the guild, or they will send a dude over and break your hand.
No, they will. Like I've seen
it. I've seen it.
But like,
I saw it, but it was in international waters, so it doesn't count.
I saw him eat a man's dick. Like, he ate his dick.
Can we get like an accredited class and then like get a bunch of other professional painters to like join, and then we can call it like the Guild of Calamitous Intent?
Yes, please. I'm 100% behind that. But like the thing with the contrast is like, I've been like, the biggest argument people hit me with was like, well, it's not for you, it's for beginner. And then somebody in the same breath will show me something like James Wapple did with it. But you see what you can do with it. I was like, you can't say both those things. You can't say it's not for professionals, it's for beginners. Yeah. And then you can't show me what a professional did with it. Like, look, bro, I have like 1 billion hours of paintbrushing. I'm a fucking professional, right? And I can absolutely manipulate any fucking pigment in a solution to not suck. I can. Fact. I chose not to when I put out my head-to-head review video. I chose to use it exactly as advertised, using my prolific amount of paintbrushing experience that I've accrued over the course of my 37 years of life, exactly the way they indicated it to me, using all my brush control abilities, and compared it directly with what you can do with an airbrush, right? That was it. It was like, we throw the blues down with the airbrush. We chose not to do an organic model, to Rob's point. An organic model is a different story. You get a Poxwalker, quick Zenithal highlight, you can make some magic happen there. or Sheezy. They should have marketed it, in my opinion, as Hordes of Nurgle, 3-piece color. Hordes of Tzeentch, 3-piece color. Literally never show us that picture of 100 fucking Space Marines painted with that shit. That is forced marketing that's making me think it's something that it's not. Like, as evidence in that video.
The bases, like the different colors on the different bases.
No, it takes too long to dry. Literally, I've been doing all sorts of research on that. I've done multiple videos on it, and I'm like, this is great for bases. Put it in front of the fan, come back, have a water. I'm like, you're still not fucking dry? Yeah. Okay, fuck that.
Painting a single mini is bad because you gotta assembly line them because the shit's still wet and it hits each other, and you're like,
and so even in a 1v1 format, Contrast did beat my airbrush. It did in time. It beat my mind, and it beat the 101 curriculum in time by about 25 seconds. Right? It did. But the second I put a second Marine down, a third Marine down, a fourth Marine down, the 101 system is destroyed it by hours. Like, and then the argument is like, well, I'm not going to buy an airbrush. It's too expensive. I was like, did you buy 15 fucking contrast paints? Airbrushes are like $89 on Amazon.
At $8 each.
Yeah. It's like, none of these arguments, this is literally a marketing campaign a company threw at you. It holds you at a lower skill level longer because you're not learning anything about painting, right? That's it. It's literally an answer to a question that never needed to be asked. And they named it Contrast, which personally offends me because Contrast is my middle name. Like, so I will forever get triggered about Contrast.
Yeah, we have been talking about Contrast for a number of years because it's that poppy comic book look. But I think at the end of the day, Contrast mark on retail was that they used it as a tool to force retailers to buy that $4,000.
An insidious marketing ploy.
It's bad. It's like there's so many talented people at GW in so many different areas, and then you've got like, I don't know what to call them, the inner circle of like dastardliness. That's just like, all right, well, how are we going to get people to buy the stuff at this ridiculous? I mean, we got single minis that are $50 this week.
You already make the best models in the world.
$50 fucking dollars. Like,
I'll pay you that $50 for the model.
It's a steal.
It
Buy
is.
two, keep one in the shrink wrap.
Keep one sealed.
Realistically, yeah. When you're making the greatest plastic fucking injection molded models in the world, I agree with you. Not even ironically.
This shit's good, but like, there's gonna be a pivot, and it's gonna be sooner than they think. I feel like okay, I'm gonna play devil's advocate. I kind of agree with you, Rob, but I'm gonna play devil's advocate. All right.
If I create an awesome mini, right, and I'm like, well, how much would you pay for this? And people are like $25, and I go, well, what about 30? Oh, you'd still pay 30? Well, what about 35? Oh,
sure.
What about 40? What about 50? What about 60? You would still buy this mini for $60. Okay. And then when I go, what about 70? Oh, that's the line, right? My job to my shareholders is to sell that miniature for as much money as I can.
I agree. I don't have to like it.
And if people will pay $50, we don't have to like it. But if people will pay $50, they should sell it for $50. Which is I hate that I'm saying that, because I'm like, I know Illuminor Zeras is going to be like $50. I'm going to be like, oh,
he is. He's the $50.
He's the one.
He's the one. But,
I knew it.
But I don't know, man. Like,
I keep one in the shrink wrap.
I've gotten to a place where it's like, I don't feel any like emotion for it anymore, because it's like, why waste your emotional time and energy on something like that you can't control? Like, I think we talked about this before. Like, nobody bitches about Lambo's price tag, right? Like, you don't go to a dealership and be like, why the fuck is this Lambo so expensive? I should be able to afford this. Rah! And like whine about it online. Like, you don't do that. It almost never happens in any other market except for this one for some reason. And it's like, no matter how much you whine or, cry online, they're not going to change it.
No,
like, so
not.
Why waste your time? Like, if it's too expensive for you, be like, meh, not for me.
And that's kind of where I'm at. But it's part of my job to educate people as to what the pricing is, where it's coming from, where the history is, where the lessons learned are, the best ways to maximize their hobby dollars. But also just be aware that, hey, there's other ways to get this shit. And, and I've worked a lot behind the scenes the past couple of months with a lot of different communities in a lot of different areas, trying to bring the best value for both up and coming companies, but also for hobbyists themselves. Mm-hmm. And I think at the end of the day, that's where the value's at. Like if GW has something and you can't afford it or you don't think it's worth it, there's this, and this alternative out there for that. And nobody's going to know about that stuff unless there's somebody talking about it. And that's where we're at, at least on the Spiky Bit side of things. Yeah. Because there's a lot of people out there that are not giving, not sharing.
GW is fully authorized to value their work at whatever they want. I do it too.
Sure.
Like, yeah. The thing is, it
says you have to buy from their stores or like direct from them. Like,
right.
You're going to get discounts at like clubs. You're going to get discounts at, maybe your local store where they offer like a 5-10% discount. Mm-hmm. Some clubs can do way more. They're just not allowed to advertise over 15% on, in print or online.
Advertise, but you can sell it for whatever you want.
Yeah. Like you can get it on eBay or whatever. Like there's 1,000,001 ways to get it cheaper than they say it is.
And I would assume I
will sell my old Illuminor Xeros for like $10.
Yeah. Right. I would assume GW is fully aware of like what Rob is saying, and they have a future plan for it in conjunction with what Haspil's pitch, because it's like Haspil's role play he did there. Literally, every time GW raises their price, they just give a bunch of third-party people a raise. That's what they're doing every time. Yeah, and there's going to be a moment when that raise that they give those people and that price increase that they give themselves is going to stop, because this other version of the market's going to pop off. GW better be ready for it with their solutions in place. Yeah. Get their money all the way to that point and then continue.
But we saw it happen before. Like, this is not new. We've seen it happen before when X-Wing came around, right? So X-Wing came around. It was like way cheaper, painted minis, right? And some might say a more competitive game. I don't particularly think it was a better game. I think it was a different game. You know what I mean? But it was certainly more controllable in a competitive environment than 40K. Mm-hmm. So we saw that jump to number 2 miniatures game around, right? It beat Warhammer Fantasy. We saw that happen.
The Fantasy Flight outdid GW that year in money.
Yeah.
For a couple of years, actually. Yeah.
And we saw a lot of the positive things. This is just my conjecture, of course, my opinion. But I think a lot of the positive things that we like about GW now happened because of what X-Wing did to GW.
Well, every pivot, Games Workshop's too big. They're a battleship. It takes a certain amount of time to steer a battleship. It's going to take them about 3 years to respond to just about anything. We saw it on the bit side. We saw it on retail side. We saw it on, you could say the FFG pivot side. In 2016, Roundtree got his hands over most control of the company, and 3 years, we saw what happened in 2019. So everything, GW's on a 3-year plan to do something. So, and they kind of let it slip in the stream that they had been planning this new edition and these new Necrons 3 years ago. So, so this has been a big thing for them.
You know what tipped me off on that is a Steam game. A lot of people don't play it. It's a great game. I'm going to plug it right now. Mechanicus.
Yeah.
It's actually really cool. I got it for the, what is it? The Blood for the Blood God.
Yeah,
they do. Yeah. It's really cool. And so many little things about that game are dope. Like the soundtrack, the OST is really good. Really good. The world building where like none of the Mechanicum tech priests like speak English. They all speak in like binary cant, but it's different for every person, which gives them personality. So, which is really cool.
Yeah, it's a really good game, but the Necrons in that are no joke. They are, they are a single warrior is like in the early levels. You're like, oh, it's just 3 warriors. Oh my God.
Yeah. They hit you with the Destroyer Lord in like the tutorial, and you're just like, what the fuck?
Yeah. So,
but you don't even have to beat it. They're just like survive.
Yeah. It's and then the other thing, we had a comment in the chat of what is sponge chipping. Morgan asked that. So What you do, and it's a very cool technique, and it works really well for vehicles, but you can still do it on like armored guys, right? So like Space Marines, anybody who's wearing armor,
or a Daredevil, maybe.
Yeah.
I mean, like I have a whole video on this.
Yeah. So just look it up. But to be really quick, you just take usually what I would use is back in the day when you bought a model, it would come with these little sponges, for lack of a better term.
Foam backer.
Of little foam backer that came in there. And I would tear that, right? And that gives you a ragged edge. So then what you do is you dip that ragged edge or take your paintbrush and just run your paintbrush along that ragged edge. What it'll do is it'll only put paint on the peaks of that ragged edge. Then you take it to your model. So you'd use like bolt gun metal or something a little bit brighter like chainmail or something like that. And you chip it along where the most wear would happen. So along a Rhino, you would do it right where the tank, the treads start to meet the edge or whatever. And usually to make it really stand out, if you don't have an airbrush, dry brush some black right along that line. And then sponge chip over it. And it'll make it really just pop. And what it looks like is that the paint is chipping off, showing the bare metal.
Yeah.
And you can actually do it for rust. You can do it for mud.
So many things. You can do like streakies, and I mean, like if you buy foam trays for your models, like foam,
block and pull
like
foam.
Stuff,
there you go.
I have like a billion of these.
Lifetime supply.
And then you just tear up a little piece, put it in some tweezers. I like these self-holding tweezers from Armor King, because if you're holding it with your big fingers like I have, like doing this all over a billion models, it cramps your hand up. So having little self-hold tweezers, like it's the business. Yeah. And yeah, if you want a visual guide, I have a video on my YouTube channel of start to finish sponge chipping.
It is a super easy technique.
I've just been cramping my fingers the whole time like a peasant.
Cool.
I just learned something today, folks. Some hobby expert.
So exactly, you use it on like Vindicator dozers or dozer blades on your Rhinos.
It's an armor modeling technique that goes back, like it's probably older than Rob, which is saying a lot.
If you treat it as just another paintbrush that deploys paint in a unique way, you can think outside the traditional box of what it was designed for, and you can do a lot of interesting things, streakies, like what you're saying. You can, I mean, there's a lot of technical application that you can just invent. As long as you look at that tweezer and that little foam as a new paintbrush that does a new thing, and just play with it. Some crazy shit. Like 5th edition, when I was my commission studio and was at the height of making vehicles, because that's what everyone wanted, was 4, 5, 6 Razorbacks and minimum squads. I probably painted like 160 fucking Rhino chassis equivalents inside of that edition. 100%. Airbrush a bunch of vehicles. I would even get this ghetto, Wyatt. Like with the treads, the tracks, all that shit. I would literally just kind of spray all the treads black with the airbrush and then fade up some browns. Like after I did like the blue paint job for the Ultramarines, I wouldn't do any painting on that shit. I would turn them black with the airbrush, let the overspray catch all the little doodads and the treads and everything, and just go through even like some of the like the weapons and the hatches. I'll just leave them off and double stick tape, just spray them all black, and some browns. And then I just take the big sponge chip and just start chipping all the fucking shit out of it. And then suddenly you're like, yo, that's a dope looking vehicle. It's like, bro, I didn't pay shit.
Yeah. I'll grab a couple of my tanks and I'll show you guys.
Yeah. Cause like a really good place to like use sponge chipping is like, how on the top of the Rhino, it has the hatches that come together, right? Before you glue those together, just hold them like that and chip right at the edges. Just right at the edge.
On the 90-degree angle surface, like right at that angle.
It just looks absolutely sick.
The treads, Kenny's really good at doing the dirt on the treads.
Literally, black, little streak of brown, and then just chip. And you're like, yo, you painted this shit out of those treads. Like, I didn't do shit, dog. Nothing.
Didn't touch it once with metal.
Yeah.
If I'm trying to speed paint a whole army like I did with my contrast Blood Ravens, in order to give them a more finished look, I will actually chip the ceramite, but I may not chip it with like metal, because I may just chip it with like a gray or or something so that it looks like the actual, blood raven color is chipping off. But I don't think ceramite's supposed to be metallic, but it just doesn't matter. You can do whatever you. Oh, Wyatt's got.
Yeah. So this is what it looks like after. I mean, I have a bunch of weathering compounds and stuff from armor modeling on this to do all of this like streaking and color distortion, but you can see along the edges there.
You did a darker color first, and then you did the metal for the second.
Yeah.
That creates the shadow effect. It creates the three-dimensional qualities that you would expect to see paint removed in a undersurface.
And then if you want to, you can also do sponge painting to have a really weathered effect. Like I have this captured rhino. So it's been captured. And for all of the yellow paint, it's just I wanted it to look like they stole this and wanted to just like slap some of their color on there to avoid friendly fire. So it's just a bunch of like yellows that I just sponged on there aggressively and then airbrushed some like rusty browns into the details. Like really, really easy again for like a weathered paint job.
Like I love. That rhino's awesome.
Yeah, this is my captured Whirlwind Scorpius. Because I didn't want to buy a new Whirlwind.
So you just took your Ultramarine one?
Yeah. Because I had 3 Ultramarine Whirlwinds, so I was just like, I don't need a third one.
Which is dope.
Fresh.
Chipping, secretly easy.
It is. I think we just did.
So if you hate edge highlighting, sponge chipping.
Yeah,
I think we
you
did
got shaky hands and you just can't get that straight line. Just fucking sponge chip that shit. It looks just as cool, but easier to do.
Yeah. A lot of these new big dry brushes people have been getting hype on kind of do it for you too. Big makeup brush style. That's actually how Army Painter's marketing their new ones. Their big dry brushes. They're actually stippling brushes. They're not really advertising them as dry brushes to do a lot of what you just did with the yellows on there.
Yeah, stippling brushes kind of works the same way. They're really like, yeah, like the thing you said, I was like, I don't really like the stiff ones because they're too aggressive. Like they're too stiff. So like makeup brushes, you can do those, which is a little bit easier.
You want round and soft and not too long.
Yeah.
Fucking dope. That's right. Go to Walmart, just buy a makeup brush for $1.
Yeah.
I've got this. I've got this Artist Opus one I've been using. It's like $60. Sent me to review. Like I still use it because it's good, but I'm just like
makeup sponges too.
Oh yeah,
awesome.
I think I have that Dorito because on the Dorito that I did in the video, I took it up a notch and I actually did a bunch of like hand painting. Is this him?
Yeah, like, and essentially, like, if the effect you're trying to create, like, to the chat is like, so if something is metal and then somebody painted it with like a thick enamel coat of yellow, right? And then assume that enamel paint is like a millimeter thick, and then something hit it really hard and sheared a piece of that yellow paint away, and what's revealed under it is metal. So technically, the yellow is above the metal, but you painted the metal over the yellow. So in order to create the visual representation that it is three-dimensionally there and pitted, well, why it's done in that picture you can see is he's put a highlight on the bottom of the pit.
Yeah, you do the distressed, like the distressed scratched paint level first. Mm-hmm. Then you do the steel, and then I went in with a rust compound and put rust over the metallic parts. You can also do it with matte paints, which looks pretty good too. You don't have to use a metallic paint. So if you just want to use like a super dark German gray or something, it does the same thing. But yeah, like, and then you'll also kind of like hand draw along edges and connect the chipping around corners and stuff. So this is like the more advanced, like actual armor modeling thing that looks even more realistic. Whereas on those two vehicles, that's like the fast and easy way to do it.
And that's why on the chipping side, you started dark first. Then you did like how Mike said, you know, you laid out something kind of dark first. If you, it will kind of like give you a shortcut to create that effect. Everything's about shortcuts. All techniques are about shortcuts and making them not look like shortcuts, which is why I hate contrast paints. It's a shortcut that looks like a shortcut.
This is how we started. Contrast paint.
It's a shortcut and it looks like
a full circle. I like that callback. That's good comedy.
Yeah.
Let's get comedy.
I'm just going to throw this out real quick, but and you're going to have to search to do a tutorial, but this is an old special effects trick, visual effects movie trick, right? Is if you're trying to make that pitted paint look and you really need it to look 3D, where the paint is actually still peeling up off the thing, like on a dozer blade or something like that, what you do is you paint the undercolor first and then kind of varnish it with, ard coat or something like that. Some kind of a clear gloss varnish.
Something shiny that breaks up the
something. It needs to be gloss, yeah. Right? So you do gloss, and then you take, and this is the secret, you take hairspray and you spray it.
OG technique.
Yeah, you spray it on there and then wait for the hairspray to dry, and then you paint the rest of the dozer blade the way you want it to look. Then you take a wet paintbrush and wipe off the hairspray part, and it will peel up all that paint.
Yeah, the water will travel through the paint through osmosis and reactivate the hairspray, which lifts it up, and there you can get the like rips and the chipping and all that kind of stuff.
I've seen people also do that same thing with salt too. Like they'll throw a little salt on it.
Yeah, salt works as well.
Yeah,
I did a tutorial. It looks like with Kenny's technique, I may have reverse engineered it from some of the deathcore stuff he painted that I have. Yeah, I just found it. This is really good for tank treads.
Never paint a tank tread again. I'm lying.
I remember when you showed me this, you're like, nah, I don't put any steel on there.
Oh, fuck it. No paintbrush test this. But I'm lying. Like I'm going to do like 3 plague burst crawlers and 4 rhinos for my new Death Guard army, and I'm probably going to paint them like a hobo. The old school, like the real slow way.
Whoa, I feel attacked, having painted my 3 plague burst crawlers.
I'm gonna airbrush them like a grown up.
Yeah, that's what I did.
Like an adult.
But like the other, like the bonus effects, I'm just gonna take my time because I have not till January before I'm gonna be playing them probably. So,
dude, I think, man, I want to play 9th, but when I get it, I'm gonna be like, who do I play with?
Like, so that's why I'm like literally just building notes. I'm just building this long paint calendar.
Yeah.
I'm just, dude.
I mean, I'm
going to take my 9th armies, like my old 9th army or my old 8th army, and I'm just going to try it out in 9th for a couple rolls.
That's how we all did it in
2-3 games. Yeah.
I'm really close to just buying a table. Because like if
it's only 44 by
yeah, well, I mean, like I have a spot over here that's big enough for a pretty big dining table, and it's just like if I can't get games because like they continue to keep not allowing people to play or whatever, like I got to get games in. So I might just break down and buy a table.
Maybe I'll play with the cats. I'll just be like, all right.
I'm ashamed to say that my table is most of the time
unusable,
used as a workbench.
Oh, I know.
Yeah, it's a workbench. It's piled with unfinished projects.
Is it really a workbench or is it piled with unfinished projects?
That's what I call a workbench.
That's the industry term.
Yeah.
Is it
workbench is storage space?
When you put your Grey Knights on the table, how much of your day is actually like, okay, this is what I got to do on the Grey Knights versus how much of it is, man, these Grey Knights are sick. I love looking at them. And you're just sitting over here doing something. You look back over your shoulder and you look at them. You're like, yeah, you're dope.
Well, what I do is I lay them all out because I don't have enough time. So I can paint like 1 or 2, 3 guys and then put them on there. And that's how I get my stuff done. Oh,
so you don't do that at all? You never like look over your shoulder at them and acknowledge how dope they are?
Oh, no, I do.
That's
he does.
Everyone does. I've got models just chilling over there off camera that throughout my day I'm on this computer. I'm like,
I actually set up and Kenny's seen this. I'll set up my table as a huge diorama.
Oh yeah,
with like
just by himself, just to look at.
The last time you were here, it was Gettysburg. It's just like
I'm over here working in a corner, and I'm like just looking over. I'm like, that's dope. That's half of this. That's why I'm saying is like, just embrace the passion of that half of this for now, and because the other half is going to conventions and shit and playing our game. So whatever you can do to keep this passion going. I've got a big table upstairs that I bought a dining room table like an adult. Black Friday. It was a gift to me from Bonet and myself to Bonet and myself. Like, we're adults. We have a dining room table. it is a workbench, quote unquote.
Yep.
And I'm like, yep. It's like a game table to me.
Yeah. I might have to upgrade it. I mean, I just got some adulting done with these awesome new cabinets that I bought. Now I'm going to have to get a table. God, then I'm going to have to buy terrain and like put it together. Gosh,
Yeah.
Just get some of that GameMat.eu stuff.
And my home table is going to be felt only, son. I'm going to write obscured, dense, literally just shit like that on it.
You're going to play with like bases, just little stickers on bases.
Playtesting? Yeah. Oh, yeah.
It works.
I think I still have a Nidzilla army all written up on bases.
Wood bases?
Yeah.
Yeah. We had
we used to pick them up at I think it was Gale Force 9 at Adepticon. They had barrels full of those wooden bases.
Yeah, the laser cut ones.
Yeah, I would just fill up a bag with bases of different size for playtesting. I used to do that. Was back in fourth, right? Yeah.
All day, every day.
Yeah.
So you guys, that was a pretty good COVID-19 edition right there. Do you want to take the break here and reset and do the tabletop marketplace at the top of the show?
Sure.
Haspil, you have a Haspil's Corner for us?
No, I don't think so. Sorry.
It's okay. We did talk about.
I watched Watchmen. I saw that.
Fucking bring it up.
I haven't finished it. I just watched one episode.
Give us your hot take on the whole series of one episode, David Lindelof style.
No, here's my hot take right now. Is I really liked what I saw, and I was really, really intrigued by what I saw.
Before you continue, since we cannot control people saying spoilery stuff, you may want to hold this opinion until you see more episodes.
Well, yeah, no spoilers.
Stop reading chat. Close your chat.
But my instinct, based on my opinion of Damon Lindelof, which is fair or unfair, was not. It was, wow, Damon Lindelof wrote this. Wow, I wonder how he's going to screw it up, because this is really good so far. So that's my hot take on the series. I really liked what I saw so far, but knowing my history with this particular group of writers that have come out of that school of J.J. Abrams, I'm usually less than impressed with their work, but there could be exceptions. So if I watch this whole thing and it's good through the end, I will be pleasantly surprised, and I'll admit that I'm not ashamed. I mean, if he writes a good story and I'm entertained, then I will say it was a good story and I was entertained. So far, I don't know. I have an open mind. Is all I'm saying. I liked what I saw so far, and I'll give it a chance. I'll watch it. So.
Someone in chat's like, give me a hot take on Kenny's chest hair. Don't do that. But I do have a chest hair related question to ask you guys in the chat. This came up last night when I was talking.
I'm an expert on chest hair. So ask me.
So I speculated, because like me and Bonet we have like, tons of conversations throughout and one of them was basically about how like, like the human body and like what we're attracted to has been altered by what we see in media, right? And I was like, yeah, think about it. Like when we first started dating, you hated body hair. You were like, oh, shave your chest, shave your back. And then like a couple weeks later, you didn't mind. I was like, that's because every sexy man you've ever seen on film, jacked, swole dude, doesn't have chest hair. And I was like, most dudes have tons of chest hair. She's like, I don't think that's true. Guys, is that true or not?
Oh, I have tons.
Yeah. No, shut up.
So I got so much chest hair.
Like, am I wrong in thinking
like a hairless lizard? That's a wig that he's wearing.
This is the most hair I have on my body is right here.
I think most people do. I mean, it's different. Like some people like can't grow a beard, but they're like a wolf man. You know what I mean? And then some people are just like wolf man all over. I definitely think there's a critical mass of like body hair, like on an attractiveness scale, where like you can have ladies be attracted to you up to a certain point and then it's gross.
Yeah, which is like when it's like just gross for most people. So my question is like the linchpin of my discussion, which we had put a pin in, and I was like, come back because I'm gonna do some research because I was like, I think it's like most, and she's like, I think it's way less than half. And so I need the chat to weigh in. I need you guys to weigh in. Is chest hair, like and back hair, like a normal part of your life or not?
I don't have back hair. That's not a thing.
Back hair a thing?
I mean, like I have it that goes like all the way up to here. And I have to like shave that when I trim my beard.
Because I'm like Chris Hemsworth, Chris Evans, fucking Jason Momoa, like all these dudes that you're used to seeing walking around. I'm like, they're all just wax, dude. They're hairy dudes.
Yeah,
come on.
They all have.
And so she's like, I don't think as many dudes are hairy as you think. So looking at it now, I'm looking at the chat.
I'm glad I don't have the back hair problem.
Oof.
One time, Bonet snuck up on me in the shower. We're doing like some couple showering together, and it's nice. And then I hear the little trimmer. I was like, "Oh, you're using the trimmer in the shower? Are you that comfortable around me?" All on my back. I was like, "Oh, you did not." She's like, "No, you have to shave it because it's got a big strip down the middle of it."
Wow,
and that was early. And then I was very disappointed, like a wet cat, like meh. And so then like for a whole week of it growing back, I was so mad. And she vowed never to do it again, never to shame me for it. When she cuts my hair, sometimes she will like do the barber thing and kind of get down on my neck, but she's accepted the fact that it exists. So looking through the chat, it's like most guys don't have back hair. God damn it. She's right about that.
I've never heard of that.
Lathica, I think that's the name. This is my first unofficial Warhammer Twitch stream I've watched.
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
Welcome to the Thunderdome. Like,
Super sorry.
Walk in on a conversation about back hair.
I mean, it's only going to get worse.
Yikes.
See,
yeah.
Oh yeah, we haven't even done our dick joke, our fart joke. But we're doing the COVID-19. We're at the end of the crazy part. We're about.
I have a visual fart joke.
Perfect. Thank you.
Done.
Warhammer. Oh no, yes. It's mirrored. Oh
no, it's not. It's not.
We can read it.
No, it's not. It's good. It looks. Good.
So it's mirrored on my end.
Yes.
Backblast area clear.
Yeah.
Nice.
So that's one of my new decimators on the front. It says radioactive biohazard.
Nice.
But
there's our fart joke for the evening.
Done.
Have I seen Doom Patrol? No, I don't even know what that is.
But
it's one of those
DC comic.
Yeah, it's on like the DC streaming network.
That's probably why. I'm a Marvel, not a DC.
It was basically like their X-Men.
It's not as good as X-Men.
I will watch DC. I don't have anything against DC, but when I used to go buy comics, I just didn't really follow the DC comics. I was more of a Marvel guy. So I'm not familiar with a lot of the DC comics.
Fact. All right. So for anyone this is their first Warhammer 40K podcast, we'll make it good for you now.
All right. I'm going to go have a drink. Haspil, take us out of here.
Dude, I saw into your mind's eye. You put half and half in one of those coffees in an attempt to make me break vegan edge. I'll take the one with soy. Thanks, Tool.